I just found out my husband fabricated his entire life, so I'm getting an annulment.
Oh, what a quitter move.
I, 26 female, have been married to my husband, 27 male, for a year. I dated him for 5 and finally got married to him last year. He has always been perfect for me, and I simply cannot understand why he is acting like this all of a sudden and so suspicious about me and my brother-in-law. Oh no, another Alabama story. By the way, this comes from NoHeart3827 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I didn't even know that my husband was insecure about my relation with my brother-in-law. I got to know about it from my brother-in-law, and I don't like this at all. I also don't want to ruin my perfect marriage over some misunderstanding, but I am really mad at my husband for not trusting me. I always had a great relationship with my brother-in-law. He is 3 years younger than me. Ever since my husband introduced me to his family, I and my brother-in-law got along. I think of him as my younger brother. It's kind of funny that I get along with him more than my own brothers, and we joke about it. My brother-in-law is very frank with me, so am I. He often jokes and makes me laugh in front of our family, or if we spend time alone, and he always helps me, which is why we are so dang close to each other. Like 7 months ago, when I was sick, my husband wasn't present to help me, and he was in a different city because of his new job. It was my brother-in-law who helped me and stayed with me for a week. He helped me with chores, cooking, laundry. Even when I asked him not to let me bother him, he just said, "Sis, it's my responsibility to take you and take care of you in my brother's absence." But 3 months ago, my brother-in-law got distant. Usually my brother-in-law used to check up on me and call me every few days, but he got distant. He would come over for dinner and spend time with me and when I am alone, but he stopped. I thought maybe he is going through something, and I asked him, but he just brushed it off. Husband definitely said something. The husband's jealous and he said something.
I believe so. I believe so.
It's definitely what it is. But he started avoiding me more and more and stopped visiting me, and I started growing anxious, so I visited him 4 days ago. I wanted to know the reason. After I visited him and pressured him, he told me his brother asked him to stay away from me and that he doesn't like the fact that we're so close, especially when he's not around, and he finds our close bond disgusting.
Well, that's one way to put it.
I hugged him and said I will talk to my husband and comforted him because I thought he's just as hurt as I am, and my husband is accusing his brother and his wife, and it's disgusting. I love both men. The only difference is I love my husband romantically and spicy sexually, and I love my brother-in-law because I think of him as my brother. Anyway, I confronted my husband, and he kept telling me and explaining himself how he wanted to hide it from me and how he thinks that I am being close to my brother-in-law is icky and people will judge us, etc., etc. I said F those who think about us like this, and I don't care. I will continue to be close to my brother-in-law, and I'm disappointed that you have so little trust in me and your own brother. He said he's sorry. I told him to get out and do not return until I tell you to. My husband left, but he constantly calls me and texts me. I reply to him and ask him how he's doing, etc., but I didn't tell him to come back, even though he has asked me a lot. I'm still angry at him for how he's thinking. So am I the a-hole for kicking out my husband? I don't like that I kicked my husband, but I am angry and hate the way he's thinking.
It's all about the execution. If you execute differently, sometimes you're not the a-hole. Sometimes you execute wrong, you're definitely the a-hole. Even if you could have been in the right, you become wrong.
Yeah.
It's like you can knock on somebody's door, right? And you can go knock, knock, knock. That's good execution. If you take a hammer and you bang on the door until there's a hole in it, you did the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's bad execution.
Yeah, agreed. I posted 2 days ago and realized that I truly effed up by kicking him out and dismissing his concern with my brother-in-law. And for those who are asking me if I am in brother-in-law's sheets or if I got the hots for him, I don't, and it's disgusting. I truly think of him as my younger brother and always thought of him as one, and I would never, ever cheat on my husband, and I kicked him out of his house because I was pissed at him for accusing me of an affair with his own brother. My husband indirectly accused me of having an affair, and there's no way he can justify it. If my brother-in-law, my brother, ever hinted or asked me if he wants to be with me, I would literally slap him and tell him everyone in our family, especially my husband, and avoid him. But after all these years, I know that my brother-in-law thinks of me as a sister. I adore him. He stayed with me and visits me because he's concerned about me, so stop with the disgusting DMs and replies. Anyways, I asked my husband to come back, and he told him it's better for us to talk it out than just stay apart and become paranoid. My husband came back and he told me that he didn't like how close I am with my brother-in-law. He said that his friends keep telling him that he and his brother are sharing a woman and tease him. I asked him, what does he want? I asked, does he want me to stay away from his brother? He said he does. I said, then I will do it. I will not talk to his brother as much and forget about treating him as my brother. I called my brother-in-law and told him that we should stay away from each other and should only interact when our family members are present and keep it minimal. Okay, that's respectful.
Mm-hmm. That's a respectful boundary.
Yeah. If he feels uncomfortable and you guys talk about it, that's cool. But brother-in-law confesses his love. I just read that out loud.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, whoa.
Sorry, I'm reacting as if I'm a TV writer. That's what you should say as a TV writer. He said he is okay with it and he has been thinking about it and he thinks it's not worth much drama and will keep his distance from me. My brother-in-law asked me to pass the phone to my husband and my brother-in-law apologized to my husband and said he would stay away from me and won't be as close to me as he was before. Okay. They talked and agreed and now brother-in-law is going to avoid me, which is better than my husband being mad at me and avoiding me. I told my husband that he better not think about that and I would secretly meet his brother. We both were transparent and never hid anything from you. If I'm losing my friend and my brother just because he's your brother and known him for years, then I will stay away from all men, but don't you dare suspect me of cheating ever again. I said that he's not allowed to stay close with other women either, his friends or cousins or my cousins, because it goes both ways. I say stay away from his brother and cousins and he does the same. He agreed and he's back.
Okay.
And you can be back with us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when you can join us live on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and Facebook. And we might be live right now.
I like that they were like, there's no double standard there because it's like at the end, it's like, well, if you're going to tell me that that's a requirement, then you have to stick to the same level. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that he was like, okay.
Yeah. So easily?
Yeah, I'm thinking that there's like some.
This is Craig.
There's got to be something else.
Ash says the marriage is going to end.
Surface.
So where is her support system then? Oh, wow. We got a lot of concerns in the chat. He shouldn't have to stay away from his brother. That's crazy. Wait, are they 5?
5? Yeah. There's no trust. Where's the trust? There's no trust. Does he maybe know his brother gets up to no good and OP doesn't? Like, what?
Dude, who knows? Brother-in-law is a friend. Why isolate the wife over the husband's insecurities?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation, and I think they're right. I don't think this is gonna last, man, because there's no trust. There's none whatsoever.
Because what happens to the next guy?
They're just like, oh, okay, so I guess we can't hang out with anybody who. You can't hang out with any. It really is like they're 5. You can't hang out or talk to any other boys besides me, and I won't talk to any girls.
Get out of here! We're gonna finish this up because I'm sick of it. But it doesn't feel the same way to me. I feel like he accused me of sleeping with someone, and to that, with his own dang brother. I know my brother or brother-in-law, I guess, wouldn't betray his brother, and even I am to stay away from him. My husband would think I am cheating when he is not around, and I do not feel comfortable about this. I love my husband because he's mine, spicy sexually, physically, but I also love my brother-in-law emotionally because I think and treat of him as my brother. There might have been emotional cheating. I didn't even think about that. I have no idea if I could have handled my situation any better because I am so currently angry about all of this. And that is the end.
Yeah, I feel like that was toxic and honestly kind of unresolved because you're just going to have more problems in the future. It's like, we did it. It's like, no, you didn't. No, you've done basically nothing.
We did the best thing that we could have.
You've made like somehow a really toxic. You're like, we're just gonna pretend no one else exists on Earth besides us because I guess we can't be trusted to look at or talk to other people. That's crazy. But yeah, that's the end of that story.
That's the end of that story.
My mother-in-law mistreated me despite all my help. Now I refuse to talk to her in her own house. Please reserve judgment until the end. This is a long one. My apologies. For context, my partner Tristan, 32 male, and I, 28 female, have been together for 6 years. We both don't want children and we both don't want to get married. Mother-in-law, 62 female, is just easier to say than my boyfriend's mom. By the way, this comes from Julie Patchouli 1 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So when we first met, he lived at home with his mom, grandma, and 2 brothers. I lived on my own in an apartment with a roommate. Well, after a few years, I decided to get my own apartment and asked Tristan to move in with me. I paid the $1,000 deposit and most of our bills since I made significantly more than he did. We lived in my apartment for 2.5 years when I was suddenly laid off. That is hard. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a full-time job, so I went back to work in retail at a part-time job.
Oh.
With our combined income lowered and our rent going up, we couldn't afford the apartment anymore and decided to ask his mom if we could move in with her. His grandmother sadly passed away from COVID, and his younger brother Alex, 22 male, moved out. So there were 2 empty rooms in the house. When his grandma passed, his mom was also in the hospital and was extremely sick. I was the one who personally organized everything for them. I called the hospital, funeral homes, emailed funeral directors, got all the signatures needed, made sure they'd wait for his mom to recover and that their final goodbye could be exactly how she wanted it to be. This was not an easy task because of COVID, but I made it happen. Tristan and his brothers were grieving, so it was really just me and their uncle doing it all. I say all of this because I cared a lot about Tristan's family, and I thought they felt the same way. So she agreed to let us move in. Shortly after, Tristan quit his job and began looking for a new one. I, on my savings and part-time income, shouldered all of our bills, groceries, and the rent to his mom. Tristan's older brother, Jared, 39 male, still lived in the house. We also completely renovated the room, put in new floors, painted the walls with fresh paint, cleaned out all the trash that Alex had left behind, etc. Well, it was immediately made clear I was not welcome here.
Oh.
Jared, the older brother, would do some things that really upset me. He'd steal some of my things, like my toothpaste or my candles, and put them in his room.
What?
Weird. Yes, I would open his door and find my stuff in his room, which maybe isn't cool of me, but neither is stealing, so. He would also throw away our groceries, claiming they were bad or old, even though I just bought them. He broke both my pressure cooker, I would be furious, and vacuum cleaner, I'm furious.
Greg.
On accident. No, Greg! And he would complain very loudly that we didn't clean enough or pay enough rent, etc. He's unfortunately a waste who isn't unpleasant and at times outwardly hostile. I tried approaching him calmly a few times, to which he always seemed apologetic, but then would turn around and do the same thing over again. The final straw came when he took my laundry basket out of the laundry room and threw it at our door. He was obviously wasted and had borrowed Tristan's car earlier. Yikes. I lost my cool, yelled at him to keep his effing hands to himself and to never throw my things again. He lost it and called me an a-hole multiple times in front of both Tristan and his mom. There was a lot of back and forth yelling. I'm not proud of the way I yelled at him, but I had had enough. His reasoning for his behavior boiled down to Tristan stopped hanging out with him and it upset him.
You
and
took
he's
my
a man.
friend.
He can't deal with his emotions in a proper way and actually communicate. He must show it through anger.
Aggression!
Tristan told him he reeked of booze and could no longer drive his car because it was obvious he was driving wasted. Jared was furious. He's been a ever since with no signs of stopping. I talked a few times to mother-in-law about this. She openly said she knows what kind of son she has, but will never kick him out. He's her responsibility. So we all just suffer in silence. A few months after this incident, mother-in-law let Jared borrow her car, and he drove it wasted into a stop sign. Why is this man still a license?
Why are people offering their cars to this
That's
man?
insane. He got arrested for his 3rd DUI, and her car was towed.
That is so bad.
3rd?
That is so bad. I knew
Who's
someone.
letting him get behind the wheel? You guys are
The mother.
You guys
She's like allowing this
that's
behavior.
Condoning the behavior. I knew someone who got 1 DUI, and that was like so long of dealing with legal things and like $10,000+
Oh yeah.
You're going 3rd DUI, like you're screwed.
It was going to cost her $1,200 to get it back. I gave her $1,000 out of the kindness of my heart and said she can count that as early rent. Again, I'm coming to the rescue like an when I should be running away.
Oh, Blind B says OP said Jared is 39.
Jared is 39. He's acting like honestly, not even a child would act like this. Fast forward a few months, and Tristan now has a new job and is helping me with the bills. But mother-in-law started saying weird things that almost made it seem like she was trying to start a fight with me. She knows we don't want kids, but would comment that we'd never have to worry about childcare, or that I could just have the baby and leave it with her. She also brought up weddings and said that the traditional color for the mother to wear is cream or ivory.
John, we're going to get back to the story, but I got to tell you, I've been loving these pearls that I got in Colombia.
You are a delicious beaded man nowadays.
I do feel more confident at the very least, but I think these pearls pale in the amount of confidence an OK Storytime membership can get you.
That's right. You get 60+ hours a month of exclusive live stream content. That's advice that'll make you the best version of yourself.
And it's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Crack open that oyster and get the blues. But let's get back to the story.
Just gonna say it really quick. Christina Lowe says, I want to thank them for the shout out to my kiddo. We both hugged and cried hard.
Oh.
This year's been awful, to say the least.
Of course.
Well, I'm sorry you had an awful year, Christina, but I'm glad that we could bring a hug
cheer.
and cry. That's beautiful.
Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah,
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
I told her neither she nor my own mother would be allowed to wear white if Tristan and I were getting married, which again, we don't even want to. Then she made a really unkind comment about people with mental health problems having something seriously wrong with them. She knows I struggle with depression and OCD, so that's to hear. I didn't even try to finish that conversation. I just said, okay, stood up and walked away. After that, mother-in-law stopped talking to me completely. I would say hello or good morning to her before work, but she would just keep watching TV or reading her book and pretend like I wasn't there. When Tristan would greet her, she'd immediately look up and start chatting with him. Even when I was standing right next to him, I was confused and honestly a little hurt, but I was also so exhausted from all the drama that I didn't even bother bringing it up to her. Instead, after a few weeks of this, I just stopped trying to talk to her. Mother-in-law asked Tristan one night why I was mad at her, to which he flipped it and said, "You're the one ignoring her." She 100% tried to gaslight him. I don't do that. I've never done that to her. He reminded mother-in-law that twice he was standing right next to me and noticed it himself. Well, I must not have heard her. Yet to this day, she still won't say hello to me.
Aww.
She'll look at me and immediately look away. My birthday was a few weeks ago, and she was still being this way towards me. She invited her friend over so they could watch horror movies together. They both didn't say a word to me, despite me walking in with balloons and gifts in my hands. No hello, no happy birthday, nothing.
Wait, on her birthday?
On her birthday.
That's messed up.
That brought me to tears on my own birthday. It's so awkward and uncomfortable now that I just want to run away. Tristan, in all of this, is pretty much trying to stay neutral and not pick sides.
Interesting.
Which is not helpful.
He did stand up.
He did stand up, but like also it's just like it's not helpful. I know that they're living with her,
Yeah, that's
which
just so
does
unfortunate.
complicate it, but you gotta stand up for your partner. He doesn't want to get into a fight with his mom over the way they've treated me, but he also doesn't want to upset me by being overly nice to her. So he just stays quiet most of the time. But you know what? I'm not gonna stay quiet about joining us live every
Don't,
weekday at
Sophia.
3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch.
You know, let him know.
I gotta let you know.
Let them freaking know.
Just tap our profile.
Just freaking tap it.
Stop yelling at me.
Sorry.
She's letting you know.
I've been known.
Oh.
But there is a little bit left to this story. I feel like I've given so much to this family, and I'm now finding out it was a mistake. I thought his mom was genuinely a sweet person, but now I don't think I could ever see her the same way again.
They started off having a good relationship,
Yeah,
right?
a
Where
really
they
good
were
one.
like,
I mean, she
close.
like did all of that stuff while she was in the hospital.
Yeah.
I know I should probably try to be the bigger person and ask her what's going on, but she might ignore you and ask how I was offending her. But the childish part of me wants to just leave and never talk to her again. I am currently looking for a place. I don't want to be here any longer than I need to, but with the housing crisis being the way it is, that's easier said than done. So am I the a-hole? And that is the end of that story. I don't think so. I think that you've tried to be kind and respectful, and it seems like she's fully ignoring you.
AQ says, the worms wear them.
The worms wear them.
The worms wear them.
Any final thoughts?
From what we know, it seems like the mother 100% is being the immature one.
Mhm.
She's like blatantly playing childish games and ignoring someone she's upset with, not talking to OP, making her feel uncomfortable in her living situation. Yes and yes. And I think it's all of our responsibility to stand up for ourselves, empower ourselves to be able to like make our feelings known.
Well, this is kind of OP's question then. She asked, should I talk to her?
I
Should I,
think the
have the
answer is
conversation?
yes.
So yeah. I mean, if you're
think-
going to continue to live with her.
Yeah, and I think it's just good practice. Like, if someone is treating you badly, I think we should all empower ourselves enough to be able to, like, make a stand for ourselves and not doing it in a confronting, attacking, or blaming way, but to learn the skillfulness to be able to say, like, hey, like, when you do this, it causes these emotions in me, and I would really appreciate it if you acted in a way that wasn't harming me.
I do think that being able to say that would be dependent on you having a place to go, though, because she does have the power to kick you out, unfortunately, because like while that conversation may be necessary, you do need like an alternative option.
Yeah, but
Should
I
it not
think
go well.
if you were to do it correctly, I don't think it would put you in danger. But we
Maybe
don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
'cause
We don't know
you-
how
you
she
know,
would react.
We don't know how she would
Yeah.
react.
It's hard. But that is the end of that story.
My wife and I have been together for 10 years, And now she wants to open our marriage. My wife, 37 female, and I, 36 male, are married for 10 plus years. We have 2 kids who are of school age now, and so far everything was perfect in our relationship. We've been together since college. We have good communication, I think, and we could always talk openly about our struggles, desires, etc., and solve them together. Recently, my wife told me that a guy was hitting on her in the gym, which surprised me and scared me. I asked her how this made her feel, and she admitted that it turned her light switch on.
Ooh, I don't like that. That's what turned it on? It just like, oh.
Big buffy guy with some nice traps comes up to you and says, "Hey, baby, them legs looking fine."
Don't ever do that again.
I'm not. I'm trying to be that guy.
I know, but don't ever do that again.
We have that openness to talk about other people we like. I can say I find a particular actress or person attractive, for example, and she will just smile, and she does the same. We like to know what the other person likes. We think it brings us closer together. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Much Maybe on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. But this time, I start feeling that this was coming from a different place. A month went by, and this topic was never mentioned again. But then, a few days ago, she wanted to talk. She asked how I would feel if we would try non-monogamy.
Great. I would feel great. Especially when you got triggered because a guy told you you're hot.
Coincidence? I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. I asked her if it was because of the guy in the gym, and she said no. She hadn't seen him since. But that it's something that was growing inside of her for quite some time, and maybe this encounter now ignited it. I asked how she imagines it, and she didn't have any specific scenario, which I felt was a good sign. I was afraid she already had a person in mind. She said we would talk more and find it out together how we would want to do it. She said she is missing some excitement, and she thinks we could do it together in a way that's good for our marriage. I wonder where she found some more excitement. She gone somewhere else and started making something happen? Conspiracy theory. She found some mind-blowing spicy sleep somewhere and she wants more of it.
Or it's planted in her brain and she's like, oh, I'm not getting it spicy sleep with my partner. Maybe I can get spicy sleep with somebody else who thinks I'm hot.
And it seems like they've been together since college, and they've only known each other and they've only been with each other. So
Yep, and it's planted in the brain and yep. I was going to say, if you are really missing out in the bedroom, guess what? You should communicate what's going on between you and your partner.
Yeah, because your partner would probably want to, I don't know, figure that out with you.
Yeah, rather than, let's skip a couple beats here and let's just open it up.
I didn't know what I could say, so I asked for some time to reflect. I don't want to be with other women. For me, my wife is the love of my life, and I don't want to lose her. On the other hand, I'm afraid that if I don't agree to it, she might resent it later, and it maybe would have even led to her cheating behind my back. Has anyone been in such a situation? And we have some relevant comments. Harvey Snake says Reddit is a vast, unending graveyard for relationships where one partner wants to open and the other begrudgingly goes along with it, only to find their life turn into a nightmare of epic proportions. These situations always end very badly for the partner that didn't want it. If you don't want this, say no and make it the hill to die on. Agreeing will not save your relationship. You can go to couples counseling to work things out, and maybe your wife should go to individual counseling to find out why she needs to get validation from men outside of her marriage. OP says, I agree that if one agrees to unveilingly, it's never a good thing. I am an analytical person. I am trying to understand why she wants it. I was always supportive with everything she wanted, career, study, move, etc. And she always did everything with good intention and with our marriage in mind. This is now a big one, though, and I don't know where to go with this.
When it comes to the spicy sleep in the bedroom with your partners, the best thing you can do is communicate what we can do to make it better for the both of us, rather than let's add a third person, or let's open this.
Last time you talked about this, you said toys.
Yeah, I say toys. Or, again, the healthiest thing is say what you want in the bedroom. What you like, what you don't like.
But we have another update. I want to give an update on our situation. After my wife dropped the bomb of opening up our relationship, we had a long talk, but it was probably too short.
I just hopped in. I don't mean to derail. I just saw a comment that said, yeah, she wants to cheat. Going back to what Keon said, whether you can do things besides opening the marriage. Try a little role playing. Maybe if you pretend you're someone else, it'll do.
I don't know.
something?
See what your partner wants and listen to their needs. Make them feel good.
Watch some spicy videos and be like, do that to me. Now, right now.
No.
I'm trying. Okay, I don't know how this goes. I'm just trying to figure it out with you guys. Okay? Sorry, I don't have it together like you guys. Okay, sorry, you guys have way more experience than I am.
Well, guys, really quick, just to harp on why we laughed right there, it's because spicy videos are never a realistic expectation of what to bring to the bedroom.
Well, she wants excitement, so I don't know.
Unless if you're into that, and then you're both into that. And then
Anyways,
go
back
for
to
it.
the story. We have derailed.
Realistic isn't the right word. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to save myself. Whatever. Realistic is the word. It's not the median. It's not the middle. It's
unrealistic.
sure. Yeah. Fine. Thanks, Keon.
All right. I want to give an update on a situation after my wife dropped the bomb of opening up our relationship. We had a long talk. I told her it really surprised me and scared me that she brought this up, but that I do want to discuss it and understand what she means and where she's coming from. As all this happened after mentioning a guy who hit on her at the gym, I told her that it made me insecure and I want to get reassurance that she didn't do anything with him. It surprised her, but I assumed so. But she was more than willing to reassure me. She showed me her phone and told me more details about what happened in the gym. She talked with the guy just briefly and he complimented her look a few times. She'd been having lots of work in the past few weeks. She was bringing work home and couldn't go to the gym as regularly. So I believe her that she didn't meet with him since. She said she had no intention at all of starting an affair or going any further with that guy, but she did feel energized by getting attention and it scared her too. She wanted to tell me. She said that the idea of non-monogamy is just a curiosity on her side and not something that she pushes for. Do we believe her? Yes or no, real quick?
Yes. She's misguided.
I believe her. She understands it and accepts it if I don't want to do it. But she thought, as we can discuss everything openly, maybe we could discuss this too. I've been bringing in different things in the bedroom over the years, like toys and role plays. He's already been doing that, guys. I noticed that the scenarios were imagined other people turned her on the most. And I'm not saying it didn't turn me on too, but it was just fantasy. Now she's proposing the fantasy a reality. She thinks if we explored this together, just like the fantasies, it could be good for us. I asked her if what she really is after is a hall pass or essentially to meet that guy, but she said not at all. She wants to do something together, or at least in a way that I'm fully on board with. She wants a party of three.
I just think you're playing with fire. You can be interested in that. There's not necessarily anything explicitly or implicitly rather wrong with it, but like if one miscommunication happens, if one screw up happens, goodbye. It's over. It's done.
Yep.
I think we said this, Dakota. It's literally like you're like tiptoeing on like a fine line here, and once you fall, and this is the marriage pretty much, it's gonna fall.
Even though I still don't see how this would work, her intention didn't seem to be selfish or pushy. So I decided not to shut the conversation down completely. We need to talk a lot more, and I suggested going to counseling, if only for a few times, to help us navigate our feelings around this. She agreed, and I hope you can agree to join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when we go live on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Just tap our profile and even check if we're going live right now. Before we leave, we have a little bit more left of this story. I think this is a really well conversation. They're actually talking this through.
Yes, and I have all the context. I mean, from what I've heard, it's like the worst reaction would be just like getting upset about it and withdrawing and just being mad. But it sounds like you guys are actually trying to have a conversation about it. She is also being like, hey, look, it's not just this one guy. It's not like I just want to like go cheat on you with this guy. I don't know. The reason I'm talking to you about it is because I felt this thing. A lot of times in relationships, when people feel difficult things that might be hard to talk about or might be upsetting the equilibrium of the relationship, they just decide not to talk about it. It's just going to like bubble up at some point from underneath the surface. And now there it is. And it's now you got to deal with it spontaneously, probably.
Before we get back to the story, this is a lose-lose situation because one, the husband doesn't want to do it. The wife is going to resent it because she wants to do it. Or two, the husband is going to go with it and he's going to hate himself and it's going to ruin their marriage. It's a lose-lose.
Yeah, this is not good. I know people and relationships are in continuous change. If they can change together, they can stay together. If they can change in different directions, they grow apart. I'm scared of the change, but I know that I don't want to lose her nor our family, and I'm willing to put hard work into our relationship. That's where we are. More talk and counseling next, which I think is the best thing you could have done. W story.
Sounds good to me.
See, this is a guy that actually cares about his wife and is putting in hard work and communicating with her.
My entitled friend kicked my dog, so I kicked her out.
There you go.
Very fair response.
Yes.
As the title says, last week I kicked what I thought was a good friend out of my house because I could no longer handle her antics. Just want to write it here just to de-stress and deal with the grief of losing a friend. By the way, this comes from Uncle Barnacle on the OK Storytime subreddit. So Kendall, 25 female, and I met in university in 2016. We studied different majors, but we're from the same department, so we share many classes together and bonded over our passion for gaming and memes. Upon graduation, Kendall moved back to her hometown due to COVID and found a job there. We kept in touch online through Instagram. About 3 years later, Kendall told me she found a better paying job in the city. So she's planning to move out from her parents' place. When I asked her about her plans on her accommodations, she replied with, "That's the thing. I was gonna ask if you have an extra bedroom that I could move into." Very presumptuous.
Right.
Was like, yeah, I'm planning to move to the city. Didn't really think about where I'm going to live beyond I'm going to live with you. For context, I have inherited an apartment from my late grandfather, which is a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath near the city center last year, January. And I currently live alone there since it's closer to my workplace and it has all the convenience of public transport. After some thinking, I thought there's no harm in living with Kendall since I considered us close friends. We discussed the terms and, of course, the rent. A week later, Kendall moved into my apartment. It was great at first. My home felt more lively than usual, and the thought of going home to a close friend warmed my heart and gave me a sense of security. Things were okay for a while, and then crap goes downhill super quick. Kendall started complaining about many things at home, about her work, her savings, and how she felt homesick. At first, I was very accommodating, thinking maybe she just needs time to get used to the city life. I offered as much help as I can, even to the point of if she's low on money, I don't mind voiding a month's rent if it meant I could help her to achieve financial stability. I taught her how to save money, how I live off with my then low salary with several commitments like my car, my dog, and a student loan. I grew up where my parents expect me to be independent, so I told her things I do when I'm low on cash, how to get freelance jobs, etc. But she always seems to have an excuse for every suggestion I have. Finding a freelance job is too hard, or how she couldn't let go of her premium junk food, that she isn't willing to cook or meal prep. And I eventually decided to leave it as it is. And after 2 months of living together, I realized Kendall started treating me as some kind of competition. She would constantly ask me things like how much money I make a month. How many job hoppings did that take? Anything that she thinks she's better than me, she'll definitely pop that question. She boasts about how she's loyal to her crappy paying company and how I would never be able to move up the corporate ladder, as she called me an industry frog. What? Hopping from, what does that even mean?
I have no idea.
Like you're hopping from one job to the next or something? Like you can't move up? She once snooped my savings balance and asked how the F did I have so much saved up with commitments, etc. Mind you, she didn't have a lot of commitments since her parents paid off her student loans and fully paid off a brand new car for her. And maybe I should stop collecting rent from her. I got mad and told her if she isn't happy living with me, maybe she should move out. Cue crocodile tears, and she said it was a joke. I didn't have to take her seriously. She begged for forgiveness and promised to never snoop my personal items and details again. I let it go once, but she kept bringing things up like, well, you have the cash and a credit card. Every time I told her I'd rather stay home because I no longer have the budget to go out and have fun. Comments like these became more frequent when I got a new job 6 months ago. On top of that, she doesn't clean up after herself, tried to flirt with my boyfriend, and at times parked in my parking space when our initial agreement was that she had to find her own parking space if she's moving in with her own car, because my apartment only has one parking lot per unit. The straw that broke the camel's back was when I caught her kicking my dog in his abdomen when I got home from work. I yelled at her and rushed to check my dog. Luckily, he was fine, but I still rushed him to the vet for safety measures. I got home and she sneered that it was just a dog, and as a friend, I shouldn't treat her like that. I asked why she kicked my dog and she didn't answer me. She just shrugged and tried to escape into her room. Pausing for a second.
Oh my goodness.
This is the first time that OP's caught this.
When we read the story or like the title, I was imagining like, okay, maybe some sort of like argument broke out and then she got mad and just like kicked the dog once. She just got home from work and happened to catch her doing this.
Yeah, which to me implies that she's done this more than once.
Yeah. And kicking too. Like it could have been, more than one just like quickly little, which still would not be good. Yeah. If she closed the door and wouldn't open it and like locked or something, guess who's kicking down that door? I'm kicking it down, barging in. Get out of here, dude.
At this point, it was already about a year since Kendall moved in with me. I lost my cool and told her off, bringing up her problems and how I tried to be nice and accommodating. Then I told her I'm giving her a week to move out and that from then on, I rather we keep our relationship casual or we don't even talk at all. Kendall cried and begged me not to kick her out, but soon it turned into her screaming back at me, calling me a bad friend because apparently in her words, I didn't tell her off on how badly she was behaving. Like WTF? There was a lot of back and forth, which I don't remember what I said, but I remember eventually calling her an entitled brat. She cried again, saying it was uncalled for and stormed off to her room. The next day, I was bombarded with texts from other uni friends, some calling me selfish and others sympathizing with me. Apparently, Kendall posted our argument on Facebook, classic move, and Instagram painting me to be the bad guy. I was upset at first, but I decided that after Kendall moved out, we would no longer be friends, as well as those who took her side of the story and condemned me. Anyone who's posting any personal information or personal like fights and stuff on Facebook is already the bad guy to me, honestly. If I ever see someone like being like, and then they did this and blah, 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 on like a public story, I'd be like, so you're the problem here.
Right. It's like, I feel like the only reason you're trying to get the public's opinion on this is because you think that, different, I think, from Reddit stories.
Well, one, because those are usually anonymous.
Right. Exactly.
But also it's just like a different, Reddit is not usually geared towards people in your circle.
Yeah.
Last week, Kendall left and I have changed the locks on my apartment. I curled up in my bed and cried myself out. Probably from the sadness of losing a friend, or maybe I'm finally letting out all the frustrations. I'm definitely still grieving about this loss of a friend, as I've had many good times with Kendall. For now, I want to focus on myself, and hopefully I eventually get over this. Edit, the whole teasing that I have more money than Kendall got worse when I told her I was given an offer by MNC as a senior designer, and I disclosed her the offered salary, as we always did, like I know how much she earns too, which was about 50% more than hers. That was dumb on my part. I now understand why my parents told me to never disclose/discuss salaries the moment I started working. And there is an update, but man, oh man, yeah, this is not a person that you want to be friends with at all.
The money thing is like one thing too. Like we've said in other stories, it's like you can't tell someone how to spend their money. You just can't. And then literal like abuse to your dog and just saying, oh, it's just a dog. And then shrugging about why you did it. It's like, this person is like deranged. This person is psychotic.
Literally. It's like when I was watching Planet of the Apes, they're all like, all the humans are like being all like kicking the monkeys and stuff. And I was like, even if you don't think that they're like smart or anything, why are you mistreating them? Why are we doing that?
Something's not right.
Update. Hello, everyone. I'm here with some updates about me and my doggo, as well as my now ex-friend, Kendall. Let's start off with the update about myself. I've been doing well, and surprisingly, as some of you mentioned previously, I've gotten over the loss of this friendship rather quickly. Well, I mean, she's been awful this whole time. It's not, yeah. My boyfriend planned a trip to a pet-friendly beachfront hotel, and I spent a few days with just my boyfriend and doggo. We played in the seawater, and I watched my dog play in the sand. Overall, had a great time, and we even grilled fish together while watching the sunset. Doggo had a deboned fish fillet. What a nice time. I am also grateful for my friends who stood by my side regarding this issue. They check in on me from time to time and sent me funny content to watch during my free time. Some of them even told me their stories about Kendall and their discontentment with her behavior, which I will list some below. Friend A. Kendall ridiculed Friend A several times because Friend A earned less than Kendall despite working a year longer than Kendall. Friend B. Kendall talked trash about Friend B's company via Instagram just because Kendall flunked her interview with said company with flying colors. Friend C. Kendall always demanded Friend C to be her personal driver during our college days. If Friend C refused, Kendall would guilt trip her. Friend D ruined Friend D's assignment by pranking him. She actually formatted his laptop when the project was due in 2 weeks. When confronted, all Kendall said was, oopsies. There are many more, but these are the more icky ones I've received from my friends. And now with that out of the way, here is today's main course. After I kicked Kendall out of my house, one of my uni friends, let's call her Anne, stood by Kendall's version of events and has allowed Kendall to move in with her instead. Ooh boy, she's about to have a wake-up call. Kendall's been totally wrong. She's the victim here. And then she's gonna live with Kendall and she's gonna be like, oh. Anne called me out of the blue this afternoon and her first question to me was, how on earth did you manage to put up with Kendall for a year? She's driving me crazy. Long story short, whatever Kendall did when she was living with me, she now does to Anne. Snooping Anne's personal items, leaving dirty laundry around, generally being a prick in the butt. Anne told me she's planning to force Kendall out of her house too. I didn't comment much since Anne was among those who called me a cruel person, but now it's come back to bite her. Yeah. By the way, you know what never comes back to bite you?
What?
Listening to full episodes with stories like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story, but do you have any final thoughts?
It's like just another one of those stories where it's like, you are being bad-mouthed to people, but you know you're in the right. And then soon enough, those people who believe the bad-mouthing, they understand. And they finally come around.
You don't have to do anything. What this does is it shows you who your true friends are.
Exactly.
They'll eventually realize that you were right, which is its own reward. But there is a little bit left. But wait, that's not all. According to Anne, Kendall lost her job because she tried to ask for a 100% increment and attacked her supervisor when the increment request was turned down 2 weeks ago. She was immediately escorted out of the office building by security. Whoa. And she just texted me 20 minutes ago saying she needed a favor from me, that she wants a job at my workplace. Opie already kicked you out. Why would she ever want to give you a job?
Even if she didn't kick you out, like just off of that, like what? If you don't get the job now, you're attacking everyone? Is that what happened with the dog? He didn't give you a job?
I replied stating, ooh, there isn't any vacancy. TBH, even if there was, I wouldn't hire her. LMAO. So yeah, I hope this is the last time I'll hear from Kendall, and I'll only update if somehow something interesting happens that involves Kendall. And that is the end of that story.
My overbearing mother keeps invading my privacy, so I told her off. I think this might be EM, or maybe I'm just a crappy kid. 24 years old and a college student. I've worked in a bar for the last 2 years, and though it's a stable job, I still don't make enough to move out. I've had other high-paying jobs, but my area is just too expensive. But by the way, this comes from you-Acaria Sunshine 16 on the ROK Storytime subreddit. So, and due to having moved to this state with my parents immediately after graduating high school and growing up a military kid, constantly moving and struggling to ever keep contact with friends, I did make because of it. I had no friends in the area, and I could just move in with, and I have too much paranoia to live with strangers. I've just been living with my parents until I finished college, doing it online because my parents didn't want me having to live in a dorm and be away from them, which I should be graduating next year and then hopefully move in with the only person I've managed to be so close with by then. We just live in separate states right now, so it's taking time. Anyways, my parents have always been very weird when it comes to raising me and my older sister. There's a lot of instances, I have plenty of stories, but this one just annoys me most and causes me anxiety. My parents' house is big, but every room except the master bedroom is pretty small. My bedroom can only fit my bed, dresser, and TV stand comfortably, so my desk and computer and bookshelf. My ferret and his big cage are in the bedroom next to mine that's used as an office for me instead. I'm 24, so obviously I love having some privacy, especially since I spend most of my life being heavily monitored and coddled by my parents, specifically my mom because I was diagnosed with Asperger's at 4, plus a bunch of other things that keep adding up as I see doctors. My sister actually told me she was a bit relieved about how little they ever paid attention to her because they were so focused on me. I was coddled so much by my mother that I am only now learning things like cooking or doing laundry, which she still keeps me from doing because it has to be done this way, not this way. And so when I ask for help, she gets mad and tells me to figure it out myself.
You didn't teach her.
Anyways, rambling all this to say our mom still hovers and overwhelms me with how on top of me she is. But the worst of it is probably the fact that she will let herself into my bedroom or office whenever she wants, most of the time without an announcement. Reminder, I'm an adult. I'm also AFAB and again, an adult. Though my parents don't believe I do things like that because I'm their baby who never seemed interesting and acts disgusting. disgusted, but I act that way to keep my dad from making jokes and comments about me. So besides existing, I also do adult things in my private time. Obviously, I'll lock the door, but does that stop her? Absolutely not. So even if I'm in my office playing video games, I'll keep one end of the headphones off at all times so I can listen out for her moving around nearby. I won't have anything to hide, but my anxiety will go through the roof. Besides that, because of my dad, I hate anyone coming up or sneaking up behind me without my knowing, and she insists on my computer facing the door so my back is to the door. So I lock my door to prevent people doing that. Like any human being, I also lock my door when I'm changing in my bedroom. And what does my mom do? She finds my door is locked, unlocks it, and lets herself in. There was this one time, for example, where I was in my bedroom in the middle of changing. I am literally completely topless, to the wind, when I didn't hear her approach my door. All I hear suddenly is a sound of my doorknob, the lock being switched from the outside, and the door being thrusted open. And what did I do? I body slammed the door shut and nearly hurt her doing it. I don't know what it is, but even if it's my mom who insisted on bathing me until I was nearly 14. So the thought of anyone seeing me in any state of undress, even if it's just my underwear, feels disgusting and makes me panicky. So I'm not joking when I say I was hyperventilating when I slammed into the door to shut it and was quickly trying to dress. While I'm doing that, my mom is shoving into the door, trying to force it open, yelling to let her in and that she wanted to tell me something.
Okay, well, wait. Or tell it
like,
through the door.
Chill out. I told her no. She gave up getting in, mostly because I'm a fairly strong person despite never working out, unless you count picking up tables and kegs at work for fun exercise. LOL, I just like picking up heavy things to see if I can. When I finally let her in after changing, she's huffing and mad with me, demanding to know why I wouldn't let her in. I repeated, I was changing. And she said, so I'm your mother. I made that booty so I can look at it. I ignored that and said my door was locked and that she shouldn't just be letting herself in and unlocking my door. She responds with, I can do what I want. My house.
Ugh.
If I want in your room, then I'll come into your room. I can unlock your door if I want. What if there was an emergency? What if you were dying? What if I was dying?
Why are we doing all these what if-isms?
Because it's
You knocked at the door, OP said, I'm changing, and then there was no, I'm dying.
I'm gonna hit it again. This is classic Jewish mom guilt.
Yeah.
What if I'm dying? You're not gonna call your mom back? I might die. I said, I don't care. I'm an adult. This is my private space. You do not just let yourself in whenever you want. I don't disrespect you and let myself into your room and unlock your door. Don't do it to me. You just got mad and ran off, forgetting what she was going to tell me to do. There's an edit. Thank you for all the replies, giving advice and reassuring me. I will look into a door stopper. I just worry about her reaction since a few years ago, a bad experience with my dad and locked doors that left me sobbing and in a panic attack on the bathroom floor while he pounded the door until it nearly broke, calling me a lot of things. So I could have a lot of anxiety about my parents' reactions to being unable to get to me. I feel so bad.
Yeah, this is just not a great environment at all.
I'll definitely try to get a stopper when I get paid next. I'm making this edit to answer and add some things that I guess might need to be mentioned. I don't pay rent. They want me to, and were going to have me start last year until my insurance skyrocketed, and so it's been harder for me to keep any money saved up. It may be some time before I can finally move out due to money and the situation with my best friend, but I've been planning to pursue my master's after I finish my bachelor's at a school less than an hour away that's close to my work and requires freshmen to live on campus. The original plan was getting an internship out of state for a month or so to get practice being more independent, but I didn't get accepted to my choices, so I'm relying on pursuing a master's. Good excuse for them to allow me to live away from them. I'm not a legal dependent. Back in 2018, a month before my 18th birthday and right after I graduated high school, my parents insisted we get me an attorney and open a case to make me their dependent. I didn't want to. I knew it meant I'd have to stay forever, that I'd be stuck at home. I said I didn't want to do that, but they insisted it was for my own good and to help me. When we met my attorney, they didn't allow me to get a word in for the first 30 minutes with him. He made them wait in the other room so he could be able to speak with me, and I told him I didn't want this. He asked me about me, lots of questions. Finally, when the hearing occurred, my mother broke down sobbing and telling everyone in the room that I needed it, that I was going to in a ditch somewhere, her exact words, that they just want to help me. The attempt to make me a dependent was denied, as my attorney found me perfectly capable and happily wanting to be independent and thought it unnecessary to make me into a dependent.
I wonder if it's like it's not dependent in the same way that maybe they're talking about dependent in terms of like, oh, this OP is not able to function by themselves. Like maybe it's something along those lines.
My sister and I used to speak of me living with her, but because of medical situation with my nephew and with other family situations going on, my uncle is living with her and my brother-in-law to help with the kids in the house. After it being so long, I'm not sure the full name and contact with my old therapist anymore, only a last name. I don't even know the address of her office, as my parents didn't allow me to learn to drive until I was 22. I may try to speak with our doctor about referrals, as I know the address at least. I'm just hoping I could find a day off or can find an in-person therapist, as I tried digital and was getting nowhere with the lack of privacy to speak with someone. My bank account is heavily monitored by my mother, and she sees everything I do with it. I've been looking into opening a private account. I just worry about a new card coming in, since she goes through all of our mail and I work often. Edit number 2. Sorry, another edit, but I forgot to add some things that I think I mentioned in the comments, but forgot to add since I was going into work. Warning, because I do mention wanting to end life. There have been many occasions when I'll get especially stressed from being busy with work and school and vent about it. My parents have insisted I just quit my job and focus on school, and they'll take care of me and my bills. I could just stay home and only do school. They stopped recently only because I told them to their faces that if I had to be home and did not work, I'd go crazy like that and end my life. Dramatic, yes, incredibly so, but it's true. And if you want to listen to full episodes with stories like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Story Time. Some of the hardest times of my depression were when I was out of a job and trapped at home constantly. Turns out it's probably a mixture of depression and bipolar. We didn't find out I was bipolar until last year when I first spoke with our most recent doctor, and I did attempt but failed. Not that they noticed, just thought I was acting tired and told me to lay down. A somewhat minor thing, I think, but when I drive places, I have to let my mom know where I'm going, and if she says no, then I can't go. Same with trips. And she makes sure I'm going where I said by tracking me. The one time I turned it off, she called me freaking out. Yeah, not a good situation, especially since, your mental health is involved, and it could tend to lead towards depression and extreme forms of that. And it seems that, the more, not only is it like your privacy and your different rights are being taken away by your parents, but that your mental health gets pretty bad when you're around them, and it just makes it worse. And it seems like OP's pretty capable and is like looking into these different options.
Absolutely.
It didn't say that they had something that they felt like they were
I think
able
they're
to.
working right now, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they have any like places that they could move into.
Yeah, it seemed like there was like several threads that they were like, I could go through there, but like
nothing
not really.
solid yet. But that is the end of that story.
My father demanded I pay for the house he bought for his stepdaughter, so I went off on him.
If it's not your house, you don't have to pay.
So a few years ago, I posted about how my father cheated on my mother. Coming out the gate strong, a little cheating, always hurt somebody. And how I retaliated to him financially and socially. Wait.
What?
Is this from the same person?
No.
This is from the same person.
It's from the same person?
This is an update.
What?
This is an update. So that last one was from a few years ago. This is an update.
It's about the house.
A few years ago, I posted about how my father cheated on my mother and how I retaliated against him financially and socially. Again, this is related to that last story. This is an update from the last story. This will serve as somewhat of an update, as there have been developments ever since. For those who want to go back and read the post, I have some good news. About 5 months after I posted the story, my cousin reached out. He had been fired from his job, but he had met a wonderful girl, and that really changed his perspective. By the way, this comes from Thunder Kurg on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, growing up, he was an only child, and his parents were rich enough he didn't need to care about school. While I and my sister thrived academically, he made no effort to even try to graduate from high school. As being a legacy meant that he would always have a place in the local plant, the one that's big enough to support the entire town. That was until he found out how his family was struggling financially. His mom had spent all their savings to keep an unnecessary lavish lifestyle, and the local plant, after 3 decades, decided to stop hiring people without a degree or a trade certificate, legacy or not. My cousin was working as a bus operator at the time, but got let go and couldn't find a job, and that's when this girl changed his life.
So this is the cousin that OP said he didn't like.
Yeah, this is cousin that was like, it doesn't fall far from the tree.
Got you.
Well, she pointed out how helpless he was, being a golden child, not having to do anything growing up, and he listened to her. He reached out trying to make amends, and I and my sister accepted it.
Whoa.
He went back to community college, got a degree, and started working at the plant late August. That's one relationship saved. At his wedding, my aunt also wanted to make amends. She had a falling out with my father, and perhaps her son had talked some senses into her, so she reached out and wanted to talk. Now, we're much more reserved about this one because knew her antics so well, but she was quite genuine and understanding when we said we couldn't let her back into the grace as easily as her son, the good graces. We went low contact for a while. She's made efforts to be friendly to my niece and nephew and never showed signs of any malicious intent. So it seems like 2 for 2, relationships kind of getting better.
OP's winning. The revenge turned around and bloomed flowers.
Mm-hmm. We're still keeping a short leash, but I want to believe that people can change. And so far, she's not given me any reason to think otherwise. That's 2 for 2. The third is my grandmother. She's 85 this April. Among the grandchildren, I am closest to her. So it pained me to have to go low contact with her since our last interaction. She had also had a falling out with my father because he was trying to get her to sign over her estate. Maybe a story for another time, but she was having none of it. So they fought. In the end, he went AWOL. They did not see each other for over a year until he showed up at my cousin's wedding. At said wedding, my father made an effort of avoiding me and my sister, but approaching my brother-in-law to brag that he bought a house and that he has his mistress living in it. We did not think much of it because his pension is hefty. To those who read my previous post, even though it went down 40%, it's still almost as double that of my aunt. So he can pretty much afford like anything. But then, after we're on talking terms, my aunt let it slip that he had to take a loan to pay for that. So it's maybe not as much as he thought because he's going into debt or loan debt getting the house.
But he was originally living in OP's house or like
but that was too small.
House.
He wanted something big.
Well, but also I don't think he's allowed to live with his mistress there.
No,
either. So
so that's why I guess he had to get a new place. But his name is not on the deed. It's the oldest son of the mistresses instead. So he's kind of using the mistress's son to get the loan. At this point, we figured that he's being scammed, but not our problem. Because of a series of incidents at my job, I was offered a much more secure and high-paying position. I will admit that this is truly an opportunity I thought I'd never have for at least another 3 years, but perhaps one can only have so many tragedies. With the raised salary, my mom's money from divorce, and my sister's help, I was able to put a down payment for a house for me and my mother, even though the housing market in my city was as crazy as ever. Even though I'm now eyeballs deep in debt, I'm proud of myself for having a house to my name. My father didn't contribute anything, and frankly, I didn't want to take anything, even if he had asked. Around late November of last year, my childhood friend, with whom my cousin and I are very close, passed away from a car accident. It was very sudden. My cousin called me at 2 a.m, and before I knew it, I was home for his funeral. Needless to say, I was in a bad place mentally leading up and following his funeral. So I decided to move back home until after Lunar New Year, which is 2 weeks away. Take care of my grandmother, but I was also hoping the change of scenery would do me some good. My mother stayed to look after the kids. My sister's house is literally within walking distance from mine, so she'll be fine. And 7 days after said funeral, my father shows up at my doorstep. I was very much still grieving, so I was in no mood to play games. I shut down any effort at pleasantries and just stared at him while he mumbles about traveling or some crap. Then he told me that his mistress's second child, a girl, is attending college in my city next summer and suggested we meet and be friends. I just laughed and told him to F off. That's when he brought up the house. Apparently, the precious little stepdaughter doesn't want to stay in a college housing campus, nor does she want to share an apartment with friends or other renters. She wants a whole house for herself. That's crazy. In the middle of the worst housing economy in our country's history. Of course, having taken a loan for the house he bought for his stepson, he could never afford buying a house in the capital city where prices go up by the hour. In an attempt to please his mistress, he came to me asking for money. I kid you not. This man literally dropped my sister off in a foreign city and told her to fend for herself when she went to go to college for the first time. And now he wanted to bend over backwards for a child that isn't even his, while asking for money from his son, who he loudly claimed that he'd rather see passed away. I truly can't comprehend the gears in his geet head.
What?
Little did he know, he poked me at the worst moment possible. Uh-oh. You don't want to poke OP. OP will go.
No.
I was still grieving from a lost friend, and I ripped him a new one, detailing things I didn't even know where it came from. I was mentally checked out when my mouth did the work, and towards the end, I cracked my voice a little. He tried to argue a bit, but after my aunt and cousin showed up, they live nearby, he bolted. Last month, I haven't heard from him since. Not that I care anyway. Work is busy and I have Lunar New Year to prepare for. By the way, you can prepare for listening to us every single second of every day by just going to our podcast and typing OK Storytime wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can listen while doing other stuff.
True dat.
But there's a little relevant update that I'm just going to drive right into.
Oh, I was just going to say really quick, kind of shocking that the dad was like, I know my son has crippled me or tried to cripple me financially, cast me out of the family, but I'm going to go ask him for money.
Hey,
That'll
you know
work.
Sometimes every shot you don't take is a shot missed.
So,
You know?
well, OP's not missing any shots.
OP's not missing any shots. Neither's the dad. The dad's taking every shot.
Yeah.
He's missing a lot. But he's
missing a
taking
lot.
every shot.
OP's hitting all of the shots. The dad is missing
Yeah.
maybe every single one.
I'll admit that encounter didn't do me any good. It stings, to be honest, having your father prioritize a child that's not even his over his son and daughter. I've had sleepless nights over it, trying to think of a good reason, maybe something we did or something in his life that was so unsatisfying that he had to seek it elsewhere and not within his own family. I've come to accept that even though I always say I'm over it, deep down, I'm still hoping for a reunion, hoping that one day he will come to his senses and try to make amends. It's a long shot, but I hope for such a day. I'm not letting my guard down for 1 second. If anything happens, I'm more vindictive than ever.
I'm scared.
But I have hopes.
I'm frightened. I'm frightened for the day that
my
something
God.
more happens because OP
Oh my God.
scares me. OP scares me.
OP is a little cray cray.
A little cray
A little
cray.
cray cray. But
But if you had OP on your side,
I mean, there's nothing that OP wouldn't do for you. Question for chat.
question.
I kind of have a policy of like, if someone is super vindictive, I kind of like am a little scared to be friends with them because, and that was actually one of the reasons that the last person I was like seeing, like, I'm like, oh, I don't know if like I want to keep seeing them, was because they were super vindictive, hella loyal, and like super hardworking, great
Seems
in a lot of
like
ways.
Sophie.
But like I feel like when you're too vindictive, I'm just worried that's going to be thrust upon
Yeah.
me at some point, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like when you talk to people and they're like, "Oh, I've dropped all of my friends," and like, or they are always talking about this person that they hate, and they're like trying to, it's just like it's a lot.
Yeah. I feel like vindictiveness is one of like, I think it's like a not that great of a quality, because you never know when that
We'll flip around to you.
Yeah, well, and it will flip around to you, because no one's perfect. You probably make someone unhappy at some point, and if they're vindictive, like they're going, that power will be put to you. So yeah, I'm a little wary of it, but I'm curious what you guys think. Is vindictiveness a good quality or not?
Yeah.
Caitlin Van Campus says it's a character trait. It'll come back to you no matter how good of friends you are.
Riel says it's valid to be concerned over that trait. However, if you own up to your own mistakes, then you should be fine. Yes, but I do think with some people they aren't they hold grudges. So even if you do own up to your mistake, they're not going to forgive you. Like there's no like 3 strikes. It's just like one thing, and you're like, oof, gone. Pinky Deslayer says, most people who have wronged me, don't speak to me. I don't necessarily think I'm vindictive, but I am very petty. And Nicole Lynn says, if they are constantly vindictive towards me, then one person, run. But if they speak vindictively about just one person and only one person, they may be a nice person who's finally pushed too far.
That is true. That is true.
It's just seeing how they behave. Just watching that behavior, of course. My husband's friend insulted my heritage, so I banned her from my home.
Control, Alt, delete,
You're
ban.
out of here. I, 27 female, have been married to my husband, male 32, for 3 years and have been dating for a little over 5. My husband has this friend, male 31, Mary. They've known each other since they were in high school, and she's considered one of the boys, if you may.
Oh, babe, she's just one of the boys,
Just one
babe.
of the boys.
One of the boys.
That basically means she's always invited to all the fishing trips and stuff, which I don't mind at all. I trust my husband. By the way, this comes from Romanian Witch, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my problems with Mary started when she first found out I'm half Romanian. It started kind of innocently with her asking me to say certain words, teaching her some insults, etc., which didn't necessarily bother me. But it usually put me on the spot whenever we were out with my husband's group friends. It only escalated to her Googling stuff about Romania and asking me, are you a vampire? Did you bite your husband by the neck? Are you a G slur for Romanian people? I bet you got some of that G slur blood in you, which is just blatantly racist. Last week, me and my husband organized a mini barbecue with our friends, and Mary was invited by my husband, despite me telling him she makes me uncomfortable. He said he had talked to her about her remarks, and she's been understanding, so it's unlikely she'll say something this time. It was midnight, and there were about 4 of us left, and I accidentally spilled some red wine on Mary's jeans when I tripped over a carpet. All heck broke loose. Mary started saying that I'm a witch and I'm trying to ruin her life, and this whole thing is part of my ritual, and I'm just an immigrant G-slur trying to ruin my husband's life, and I poisoned my husband against her. When she wouldn't drop it, I kicked her out and banned her from ever coming to my house again. Am I the a-hole for doing this? My husband insists that Mary was just wasted and talking nonsense, and he would talk to her. He also told me I'm way too sensitive about my heritage and I'm an a-hole for banning her. Mary has since given me a half-hearted apology, but I'm still not okay with her. And edit, I guess this is the update some of you wanted. Sorry, I'm still a mess, and I don't know how coherent I am. Talked. He admitted to being in and out of an affair with Mary in the first 2 years of our relationship, and she wanted to win him back, I guess.
So
yeah,
this
I mean,
was-
that's why she was like, you're stealing him from me. Yeah, that's why she was like getting all crazy and drunk and attacking her because
Yeah.
she was in love with him.
Right, because she's trying
Had
to
an
make
affair.
him think you are marrying a Count Orlok.
No, this is pretty rough. I called my mom to come help me pack some stuff, and I'm out. That's it. Mary can have him. I've been gaslit for years, and it took a Reddit post to realize, oh, the irony. Thank you, Reddit, and edit too, and probably the last one for a period of time. A lot of people seem suspicious of Mary and my husband's friendship/relationship, etc., and have asked if I ever suspected anything. No, I didn't. Me and my husband had, or I thought we had, a very strong relationship based on communication and honesty. Guess it only applied to me. Also, Mary is very close with all the boys in the said friendship group. The other wives raised concerns in the past, but they've all been shut down by the boys in the group or by Mary herself. I guess I always respected their friendship group because they were very close for so long, and it felt unfair to change that because of me. As far as I'm aware, the other wives feel the same. Plus, Mary has been in a long-distance relationship for about 2 years and always claimed she's focusing on her career. She's too busy, etc. So none of us ever saw her as a potential threat.
Oh, the girl in a long distance relationship is cheating.
What?
That's
what?
also unprecedented territory.
Yeah, she had an airtight alibi. her boyfriend was never there. But now it just makes me think there could be more to this story. That I'm tired as of right now. I'm just exhausted. My Romanian witch blood won't let me live until I find out the whole truth, but I need time. Thank you to everyone who took the time to reply to my post, message me, even the ones that insulted me further. It was semi-funny. And thank you for all the awards. I'm sending virtual hugs to all of you. Veti grija de voi. Comment 1, not the a-hole. I think your husband needs to reevaluate the fact that he'd be friends with someone that's so disrespectful to his own wife. I think this commenter had not yet seen the edit. Comment 2, not the a-hole. She's being racist and your husband should be standing up for you. Maybe down the line, if her behavior improves and you forgive her, you could consider rescinding the ban. No, that is not going to happen. But unless that happens, you're doing a reasonable thing and he should be in your corner on this one. OP replied, honestly, I don't know if I'm ever going to be okay with her. What I didn't mention in the post is that these remarks have been going on for years.
Oh.
For example, Mary watched that movie 365 Days around March, and apparently 2 friends called each other kurwa and started calling me that. In Polish, that could be considered a joking way to address a close friend. However, in Romanian, it is considered a derogatory term. It means prostitute, but like worse. And pretty much no one would use the word when referring to a friend. When told to stop, Mary said, I'm too sensitive. I'm just tired of being insulted. Comment 3, not the a-hole. Why does your husband want to be friends with someone who is so awful to you? OP replied, he insists that's just how Mary is, and Mary doesn't understand your Romanian roots. Why not educate her? Well, because every time I tried, she'd just say I'm boring.
And we know that that's all nonsense.
Hullabaloo.
And she just doesn't
A
care and
bunch
was just
of
yeah.
rat crap.
actually hated you.
Yeah. Hey Reddit, it's me, the witch. I thought I'd update you because some interesting stuff happened since my post. Me and my husband, we have talked a lot, but the subject of Mary always seemed to be a danger zone. He told me he isn't prepared to truly talk to me about Mary. We have tried to mend the relationship. No, early. But after a few therapy sessions, I realized I carry way too much resentment towards my ex for any kind of relationship to work. Since my ex was shutting me out, I decided to speak to Mary as I found out through the grapevine that she wanted to tell her part of the story. Mary admitted that she went through some situationships by her description with my ex and a couple of his other friends. The issue runs deeper though. When confronted as to why exactly she wanted me out so badly, Mary confessed that she actually got pregnant in high school, but she either doesn't know who the father is or didn't want to say it outright. A little Mamma Mia situation going on. I can't know for sure, but it's supposedly one of the guys in my ex's friends. I guess the most likely option is that the father is my ex, and she didn't deny it. The child in question was put up for adoption and apparently found Mary as his or her biological mother a few months prior to the wine incident, which caused her to mourn the family she had to give up in high school and sent her on a downright spiral of depression and anxiety and made me the sole recipient of her hate because I was the only obstacle in her way of her happy ending.
That is the most intense mental gymnastics I've ever seen.
Like, okay, so it's her fault because she married the guy that I had a situation with in high school.
Married the guy that I might have gotten pregnant with.
We actually don't have a confirmation on that. And so instead of being an adult and maybe talking to either her or her husband, I am going to call her slurs.
This is someone taking zero accountability for their...
By my ex's account, he had no idea Mary was pregnant in high school because she told everyone she was doing some studying abroad for a few months and no one saw her or knew what was happening. Oh, on to the witch part of the issue. Mary said she went through a phase where she was hanging out with self-proclaimed witches during high school to recover from the pain caused by having to give up her child, the PPD, etc. The witches gave her all sorts of ointments and all kinds of readings about the child / the child's future, etc. Turns out the witches were a fraud, which sort of gave her the firepower to hate me even more and possibly fueled her fantasy. What? She was like, no, you don't understand. I found some teenagers who told me they were witches and they brought out a Ouija board, and then I found out later that they weren't even real, and that's your fault.
And then she was like, and that confirms everything I've ever thought about Romanis.
Yeah, and OP was like, were they Romanian? She's like, no, why does that have to do with that?
No, but also slur.
Slur. I'm honestly not sure how much of it is true, but here we are. In light of everything I discovered, I have to admit I do feel sorry for Mary. How did that tug on your heartstrings?
What a little baby angel.
After seeing her perspective and talking with her, I can understand where she's coming from. But ultimately, I am not her friend, and the situation is none of my business. At least not after it's been hidden from me all this time. Plus, her being dealt a bad hand does not mean she has to take everyone down with her. By the way, I want to take you guys down memory lane because you can watch all of our past and present and future videos if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. He continues, I haven't been in contact with Mary and my ex since the divorce finalized in February 2021. I also did not keep in contact with my ex's friends, wives, longer term. I appreciated the support, but it seems like my situation triggered quite a few arguments and relationship problems, and everyone sort of agreed to keep to themselves. Thank you again, everyone. Much love. And there are some comments left to finish this story off. Comment 1 says, dang, this went deep. So she was messing around off and on with more than one of the guys in the group. What is strange to me is that why would your husband even push to have Mary around knowing that he had spicy, sleepy relationship with her?
Spicy, sleepy relationshipy
with her at some point. It's almost like he wanted to get caught. Hope you're doing okay with yourself. And Opie replied, I've realized in time that this particular group of friends has issues. It's a complicated dynamic, but I can reassure you that everyone affected by it is doing okay. Comment 2, I have to ask if you told the wives what you learned as you say you no longer kept in contact with them. OP replied, yes, I didn't keep my situation a secret. I felt like I didn't owe privacy to anyone involved. They are aware and are working through it / had worked through it. I can't say exactly what happened because it's not my story to tell and I only know snippets, but I can assure you that no one was blindsided by me. And comment 3, so with OP out of the picture, where's the perfect happy family she was stopping Mary from getting? I hope a lot of marriages break up over this so the women can find honest partners. Congratulations, gentlemen. This is collectively the biggest waste of relationships I have ever seen. If you don't want to commit, don't get married. Enjoy your freedom, OP. And OP replied, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Last I heard, Mary moved to a different city and my husband's friends were all undergoing counseling. And that is the end of that story.
Well, get yourself someone
a better guy.
As much of a sweetie pie as OP.
But that is the end of that story.
My grandmother took over our home and started treating us like her staff.
What, like workers?
I'm 22 female, love my grandmother, 70 female, with all my heart, but she's very difficult to live with. She moved in around 6 years ago due to a hurricane that damaged her roof. She was only supposed to stay for a couple of months because we were trying to fix up her roof, but she also had to get some kind of surgery done for her arm. By the way, this comes from Introduction Open 67, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So we were understanding, and we just didn't want her to stay home alone in her now damaged house while she was healing from surgery, so we had no problem with her being here at first. Within the first few days of surgery, she was acting sickly, constantly needing help with this or that, but whatever, family come over and all the attention was on her, talking to her about things she likes. She's no longer sick or fragile. She's running up and down the stairs, showing off everything she bought. She forgot she was a frail old lady. She only came here with a basket of clothes and a suitcase. I only thought she came with a suitcase because she travels a lot because she's a singer and tours from time to time. Looking back at it now, she was probably plotting to move in with us. When she first moved in, my brother wasn't here, so she got to stay in his bedroom. It didn't take much time for the room to get kind of stuffy because she loves shopping and buying things, especially things she doesn't need at all. Those are her favorite. That huge room, and for her to take up so much room with a month was just crazy. Another weird thing is that she'll buy a whole set outfit and only wear it once to her performance. So try to imagine how much clothes were stuffed in my brother's closet. Yikes. Now try to imagine her buying more clothes, so now she has to put it in my closet. Now try to imagine within the span of her career as a performer, all the clothes and shoes she's bought, all in her house, in single room of her house. That, for some reason, she never wants to touch or wear again, but she refused to get rid of even though she completely abandoned her house.
Yucky.
Now imagine her buying a storage garage just to fill it up with more useless things that she's never going to look at. A couple of months later, my brother wants to move in. She's pissed and asked my mother why her own grandson is moving back into his childhood home, and then asked her, my mom, where she's supposed to stay. My mom basically told her she can go back home since her arm is healed and she can come back from her tour, so she should have enough money to fix the roof. She said a couple of $100 from her tour can't afford to move back. Complete lies. So she asked if she could move into my mother's personal room. My mom has 2 rooms, her bedroom that she shares with my dad and her hobby room. She barely slept in her bedroom, so that hobby room was her personal room. She did everything in that room. She ran a personal blog for her clothing that she crafted herself. She did makeup tutorials, she made beautiful wigs, etc. She was basically a content creator while also being a hairstylist. She needed that room for her work and content. Fair. My grandmother knew all these things and insisted in moving in that room, so my mom reluctantly let her move in.
Boo. I don't normalize
Saying
setting
no.
boundaries with people who are being unreasonable regardless of who they are.
Yeah.
Can we do that, please?
My mother is now miserable and is frustrated because of this. She's basically put her life on pause because Granny won't move out of that room, and it looks horrendous in there. And I swear, there is rotting odor in that room now.
Oh, she's got the rot. Grandma's got the scarlet rot.
I can't explain everything that happened in the past 6 years, but I'll try some of the things my grandmother does that makes everyone hate living with her as best as I can. My mom's room was pretty spacey, so when my grandmother moved in there, she did what she does best. She hoards. We can't even fit in that room anymore. There's only a small space to walk in and out of. There was some weird rotting smell in that room, but I think either from her piles of clothes or the fact that my grandmother showers only once a month.
Huh? What?
That's like that's like getting into like someone needs to like care for her territory. Like,
Could you imagine?
once a month.
Could you imagine the smell?
I actually did imagine that the other day because I was like, I imagined what everyone used to smell like before like deodorant existed or like regular personal hygiene existed. And I can only imagine just the swirl of stanky fumes like rolling around when you just would like walk through the street.
Yeah.
Had to have been insane.
I counted, so I'm not exaggerating. We can all tell when she's showering because of the weird noise she makes there.
What?
What does that mean?
What?
What does that mean?
She blows up that effing restroom. Imagine a quiet, peaceful night and you're about to fall asleep, and all of a sudden you hear "Rack City by Tiger" inches away from your bedroom.
Wait,
Dude,
wait, is your grandma playing Rack
your,
City?
Your grandma's listening to Rack City?
In the restroom.
I kind of like
Mind
your
you,
grandma now.
her bedroom is in front of the restroom, so you have to hear a 70-year-old woman hit it and crap in there. That's what I'm dealing with. Or how about whenever someone is done cooking, normally it's in the household, we have to let each other know when we're done cooking, or else we'll just have no clue. But you have someone who listens to every single sound or movement, know when you're done cooking before you ever tell anyone. Then proceed to eat most of the dinner. Now we barely cook because someone keeps hoarding all the food. Not only that, but when they do cook, they cook for themselves only. Ever had a roommate that listens to your every move? Listens to every conversation you've had in the privacy of your own room? Yep, that's my grandma. She tries so hard to avoid my mom because my mom keeps trying to discuss with her about when and how she'll be moving out. My parents' bedroom is right next to the room my grandma is in now. She listens to possibly everything they say and do in there. Everything.
I don't know. Are we just gonna like pretend that this is okay? Are we not? Is there like this is like intervention type? Are you're
Yeah.
living in filth?
Yeah, sometimes you just need to come to Jesus meeting. Be like, Grandma, you got to go back. You got to go back to where you came from.
I'm
Grandma.
gonna be like, this is a go to Green Acres meeting. We
gotta go
need
back
to
to your
send
home.
you to a care facility.
She knows my mother is moving around. She knows when we are with our mother and talking to her about whatever. I'll never forget how we complained about how Grandma eats all the food and cooks for no one but herself, how we were tired and felt so uncomfortable about Grandma being around. The next day she cooks again, but surprise, she actually made us something. It's 4 fish patties and like 2 French fries. It's a pattern too. I know she hears us complaining because the next day she'll order pizza or something. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a peephole in my parents' bedroom. Also, let me add, we don't care about her cooking for us. We always appreciate it. It's just we notice that she's really selfish about it. Goodness forbid we go out to eat too. If we come back home with food for ourselves, she complains like we're treating her like crap. Dude, what?
Man, I'm so glad my grandmas aren't like this.
Don't ever mention fixing up her house. Don't mention moving her back into her house because I promise you, you'll wish you didn't. There's a range of things she'll do. The first few times we tried to talk to her about the house, she would just complain about how she doesn't have the money. When she tours, she's not making much, and how she's basically being paid pennies to perform. Except that's not true because when we do go see her perform, she's done with her gig, she gets paid. Usually about $2,000 or more per performance. So imagine when she goes in a month-long tour, she'll brag about it on Facebook, how much she's getting paid and where she's going. So we know it's not really about the money. Then during my freshman year in college, crap got more drastic. Now every time my mom mentions the house, suddenly my grandma is all ill and can't walk and needs to be pampered / taken care of. She had a pinched nerve in her back, but acted like she got shot or something. Every time I would leave my room, she moaned super loud. So when I tried to use the restroom, she would moan loud like she needed help. Then I stay in the restroom and then she goes quiet. When I walk back to my room, she starts moaning loud again. Then I stay in my room for a second and she's quiet. Silence. She was faking it.
Dang, that's like the kid faking to be sick to stay home from school level of like deception. What that to say, like, it's not fooling anybody.
I started to ignore her because I knew she didn't need help. Then she gets up, walks to my mom's room to talk to her. My mom plays possum because she doesn't want to deal with her either. Granny sees my mom is asleep. Then magically, my grandmother straightens her back and dashes to the restroom as if nothing was wrong with her. She still does this every time we try to talk to her about the house or moving out. Suddenly, her back hurts and she can't move. And then she'll call the ER and come back home the same day because nothing is actually wrong with her. I have an aunt like this.
Oh, really?
And what do you do with your aunt?
Yeah.
I don't talk to her.
Okay. Does anyone in your family talk to her?
Fair enough.
The people that are married to her, or person that's married to her. Yeah. No, we don't talk anymore. I know you're probably wondering why not move into an apartment. She's Miss Rich B, so why not tell her to move into an apartment? We tried. It didn't work. Actually, she was the one that kept insisting to move to an apartment since she knew she wanted her out of the house. She said that in an argument with my mom, and my mom actually took her to go shopping around for apartments the next day. Granny just had to double it, I guess, because as soon as they found the nearest apartments, Grandma said she needed to go to the ER. She thinks her blood pressure is rising. So full of crap. So now you're wondering, why not get her to move in with someone else? We tried that too. We regret that so much. Grandma finally contacted my uncle because suddenly she gives a crap about her only great-grandchild. She spends the whole day there and comes back home with some BS. She told her uncle that she was getting mistreated and that my mom is going to kick her out and leave her in the streets.
You have the money for an apartment. What do you mean? Okay, now I'm thinking that this woman doesn't need, like, my empathy levels for this woman are dropping drastically.
Yeah, same. I don't think I ever had any. Because
I never had any.
How can you be playing this game on your children and your grandchildren and then go on tour?
Yeah, I don't know.
Traveling takes a lot on a person. If a one conversation puts you in the ER, you shouldn't be touring.
Well, it's not. It's just like, she's just a liar.
Nice.
She's just a deceiver.
My uncle, for some reason, believes, despite knowing how narcissistic she is, and starts a whole argument with my mom. My mom explains to my uncle what is actually happening, and he's dumbfounded to find out that his mother is doing what she does best. Then he offers my grandma a room in his house if she ever leaves ours. My grandma later refused because there isn't a nearby airport and nowhere where she can shop at. We were all somehow still dumbfounded at her consistent, self-centered, narcissistic, and self-serving personality. That wasn't even the only time she went around accusing us of mistreating her. When the ER came to our house during one of her fake episodes, she told one of the people talking to her at the hospital that she was so sick and she hasn't eaten in days, she said. We were all about to crap ourselves. My butt was starting to hurt from how tight I was clenching it. We just couldn't believe she would say that. We were cooking for her, heating up soups for her, and buying electrolyte water for her. That's big. We were taking full care of her, and that's what she decided to do? Throw us under the bus for literally no reason? Luckily, nothing happened after that, but she still does from time to time complain to someone that we're trying to throw her out on the streets. She loves playing a victim.
Just grandma.
Just do it.
It's
Yeah,
just
do
grandma, guys.
Just throw grandma to the streets, bro. I'm done.
Well, I feel like if you throw her to the streets, she'll actually, like, immediately get an apartment.
Yep.
Or maybe she's, like, so deranged she would, like, intentionally stay homeless so that she can be like, look what they've done to me.
And then everyone's
Yes.
going to turn against you, and everyone's going to hate you and your family.
And then, but couldn't you just be like, hey, everybody, she's got racks, dude. She's like in Rack City right now.
Unsurprisingly, she also wasn't a good mother to both her children and pets. The best way I can describe her relationship with my mom is pretty much that movie, Mommy Dearest. Because she treated her daughter like crap when my mother was a child.
Mommy dessert's crazy.
My grandmother always made sure she had the best clothes, shoes, and hairdos while her children struggled constantly. She abused my mother the most. She would find any reason to hurt her. As my mom got older, my grandma got none the wiser. My grandmother was expecting everyone to treat her like a celebrity. She still likes this. She thinks she pays her dues and believes now that she is fully entitled to live here with us despite everyone wanting her out. She fully expects everyone to take care of her, even if she mistreats them. For pets, I don't even understand. She'll get a pet, take care of it for a while, pet grows old. Granny now hates pets and wants it to pass away. Why even own one if you're going to be like that? Her last dog also lived with us. Her pet dog, passed away. She despised that dog. She literally wanted that dog to pass. For the first time her dog was sick, she did absolutely nothing to help it. We had to take care of her dog because she wouldn't. Turns out it had a treatable infection and it was being taken care of. She just went back to resenting her dog. But please don't resent us after we are done reading this story. Go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime, and boom. We got more stories for you. Don't resent us. We got them there for you. They're waiting. Just get over there.
No need to resent us. Just resent this god-awful woman.
Her behavior is crazy. Her behavior is bad.
There's nothing I truly like despise more than like someone with an animal that they cannot take care of.
Yeah.
Or like refuse to take care of.
Yep.
It bothers me so much.
I know that it hits Dakota in a soft spot.
But
also, why is your mom not getting a backbone here?
yeah, why are we putting up with grandma? Because she's grandma? She's if this was anyone besides your grandma, you would have gotten her out of there in a week and a half.
Back into the story, we got a new dog, and grandma just grew to resent her dog even more. We pretty much cared for her pet dog until she unfortunately passed. Grandma didn't really care and was basically being theatrical with her grief. Just the worst. When her pet was alive and we had our own pet dog, she would try and take care of our dog while completely alienating her own. She's just awful. She insults everyone and is extremely bigoted. She loves degrading others over their appearance while not looking too good herself. She loves making fun of overweight people despite gaining over 50 pounds within a few years. She also forgot her grandchildren are also pretty overweight themselves. She'll smile and call me pretty and my brother handsome, but she'll insult her other 2 grandchildren who don't have to deal with her. Send help.
Living with my mother-in-law is unbearable. So we moved out.
Good idea.
We were supposed to buy a property from my in-laws so we could live next door and have a larger property. They kept delaying from April to July to August to September to December to January and then this February. By the way, this comes from user Sleepy Blonde. And if you want to submit your own stories, go do it at the r/OK Storytime subreddit. We moved in with them while listing our home in July. My sister-in-law and her boyfriend had a notice to vacate, 90 days, and had known since October of last year that they were supposed to be out. They didn't leave, and my mother-in-law waited 2 months to file the eviction after the vacate ended because that was the absolute longest, claiming sister-in-law needed more time. They spent that time ripping the copper out of the old house. We could watch from the in-laws' house. Mother-in-law would write a note page of complaints and yell at us about once a month. She wanted $800 a month for us sleeping on her couch while she was intentionally dragging out the purchase. We were doing all of the cooking, the cleaning, and shopping for all food and household supplies. We didn't want them making money off of us while they were holding things up. They'd even have less reason to move things forward. During one of mother-in-law's yelling fits, she was angry she had to do the dishes twice in 4 months. And was angry I didn't assume she expected me to buy her $150 a month protein shakes, and was mad my husband was helping with our kids when he got home. According to her, he should have uninterrupted hour. I work from home while watching our young kiddo and baby. My husband loves doing his part and splitting the work when he gets home, so we were both confused. It's like, yeah, lady.
You can't spend time with your child.
My sister-in-law turned the property into the worst homeless camp you've ever seen. Acres of trash, dismantled appliances, busted vehicles, VINs covered and no plates, so most likely stolen, And the shop was filled with garbage, needles, little plastic baggies, stolen credit cards, an ID, and my AAA card.
Not your AAA card.
At first, sister-in-law said she had no idea how any of the cards or substances were there. She had substance abuse issues for years and lost custody of her kids years ago. Then she said, oh, well, we pick up needles at parks because everyone that picks up needles scatter them by their bed, right? No, they don't do that. And also, don't pick up needles at the park. Call somebody. Then mother-in-law wanted us to sort through the mountain of trash and let sister-in-law have a keep pile on the property that she could access, which would be 1 acre of trash. We said no. Mother-in-law threatened to take away acreage and charge the same price. Find a different house now, guys. She also said she could take anything of ours and wake us up whenever she wanted, because if we're in her house and our stuff is in her house, she can take what she wants and do what she wants. Father-in-law disagreed quietly, told us no rent, and he'd try to get things moving along. Mother-in-law wanted to demand rent again, yelling at us, telling us our kids and us are our responsibility. Then all sorts of crazy things, like how she thinks our oldest kiddo was wasted one morning, which no, and how he's going to end up in jail. He is just a typical 4-year-old.
What is this?
She criticized our parenting. She's gone 10 to 10, 5 days a week, and then gone a lot on the weekend, so how would she even know? We wake up at 10 a.m. and go to bed by 8:30, so she barely saw us. She was mad I would take breaks from parenting while my husband was home. We decided we were done and moved back into our home a few hours away. She tried to demand we bring the kids over a few days later. We said no. Now she's telling my husband, it's sad you don't have equal parenting rights with her. She's trying to alienate you. You guys are using your kids as weapons against me. Blah, 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 blah. No, you just suck.
God.
She's playing it like she's the victim. She's a professional victim who's never wrong and crying to anyone and everyone about how awful I am. How dare I delete her from Facebook? If I wait too long, it hasn't even been 2 weeks, I might not be able to come back from this. This nut job has no power over us, and she's losing her mind. After my husband gets the last of our things in a few days, we are fully done with her. The excuses that she made for sister-in-law were wild. She said I must have left my AAA card there. I'd never been on that property. It was stacked with the other stolen cards on her bedside table, and she had to have stolen it from my purse before her boyfriend moved in because of the expiration date. Tried getting sister-in-law to cuddle our kids, yet she smelled like some kind of substance, was not showered, and had blackened hands.
Oh my God. No.
She laughed when sister-in-law made joking insults at me, like about our kids possibly not being my husband's and other jabs, and made excuses for sister-in-law, who is, by the way, actively ruining that property next to her and is in the middle of a substance abuse problem, taking our plates of food that we dished up and then leaving me the dishes. I cooked family style. She could have plated her own. Not that I wanted to share the food that I bought and cooked with someone that stole from me and trash talked me, but taking my plate as well is crazy. They are so upset that they don't have any power over us, and their sad meltdowns make me laugh. Going into 2025 free from that wacko and her leeching, substance abusing daughter. I'll miss father-in-law. He is spineless, but otherwise an awesome guy. Hope to get together with him sometime soon. And there's an edit.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
Another fun time she yelled at us was because I put a bike lock on our second fridge. They gave it to us and then wanted it back, but let us use it. All the food in it was food I purchased, including everything to make a Thanksgiving dinner because she asked me to, and she had to work on actual Thanksgiving. The reasons for the lock are that 1, my kiddo loves to feed food from the fridges to the dogs, and 2, sister-in-law would come over and raid our stuff. She'd fill a grocery bag. Mother-in-law lost it. Woke us up at 11:30 p.m., threatened to unplug the fridge if I didn't take the lock off, and then went on another yelling rampage, including being angry that I didn't clean out the sink drain strainers after doing all of their dishes after she trashed the kitchen. Edit number 2, so what we were buying was nearly 7 acres in Washington in a highly desirable area with all utilities. You can't build there now because of the tribes unless grandfathered in, which this was. We were going to be spending over $700,000, but it would be worth $1 million when done. Actually, more than $1 million. The neighbors are doctors, business owners, and the in-laws. You can't find a buildable property this size in that area. My husband would have been 7th generation, kids 8th. I'm 5th generation, King Snohomish County. This would have been our chance to build a massive home on acreage with space to have our kids, or us for them, build homes, gain instant equity, and be in the middle of our friends and family. The schools are fantastic, the shopping and entertainment is great, and the country versus city life is balanced. We'll buy it out of foreclosure when that time comes. And there is an update.
Woo!
Update! My husband went off to his folks' place recently to get more of our stuff. Should have the rest in one more trip. He asked his dad if he could stop by to grab things, and that was all good. His folks weren't home, but showed up right as he was getting ready to leave. My husband and his dad chatted like normal. We always had truck talks where we would chill around father-in-law's truck and everyone would just have a drink and father-in-law would take a little smoke and it was just a great time. Just relaxing. Have a little vent or whatever. Nice casual or deep conversation. So there's a wide spectrum of truck talk activities. Mother-in-law came out after being inside and went off about how I'm trying to tear my husband away from his family and create division. No, you. How she has nothing to apologize for and is a victim to my wrath. Okie dokie. My husband shut her down hard. Yes. Said she's a bully. Leaving wasn't a decision I made on my own, and that I've suggested family therapy, I did, to work on having a healthy relationship. He told her she's behaved like a narcissist and playing the victim, and it's making having a relationship with her hard. Father-in-law was immediately open to therapy. Mother-in-law asked, who's going to pay for that? My husband said, let's go 50-50. She then responded, okay, but your wife needs to pick the therapist so she doesn't complain if I choose one. My question here is, should I go see a therapist solo or discuss the viability of family therapy? I suggested it, so I feel like I should follow through, but she keeps acting like I'm a horrible person and our current lack of relationship is my fault, claiming I'm using the kids as a weapon because I'm currently no contact with her, so I'm not bringing them to her house, texting her back, or sending her photos. She's mad I blocked her on Facebook because she can no longer view the albums of the kids I have. I blocked her because after deleting her, she could still see photos by being friends with my husband. She started friend requesting all of my relatives, and my sister, who adds everyone, told me mother-in-law was liking every post and photo on her profile, which is hundreds of posts and pictures, and I thought that was a bit creepy. Yeah, that is weird. I feel like blocking and ignoring her is the best way to go for my sanity, and I'm happy without any relationship with her, since she's made comments to my kids like, your daddy doesn't know who he's talking to. What? And my oldest has been injured twice while she watched him. She's only watched him without my direct supervision, maybe 4 times. So that's a 50% fail rate. I don't trust them with her without me. That's fair.
Very.
Very fair. And by the way, it's also fair if you listen to full episodes with stories like this. And it's super easy to do it. Just go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcasts, go where beep, boop, pop, go to your a podcast platform of choice and do a little type.
Any.
Blah, 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 is okay story time.
Mm-hmm.
My husband supports whatever I want to do 100%. I know he's disappointed, but he puts the blame on his mom. Father-in-law and I were BFFs, and he's been respectful. I'm sure we can have a great relationship without mother-in-law, but it would be different. Is family therapy a good idea? I know it's recommended to not go to therapy with abusers, so I'm not sure. I want my kids to have a healthy relationship with all of their grandparents if possible. It's not like I actually wanted no relationship when I was working so hard to buy the property next door. I'm not sure if she actually knows better or is that delusional. Makes me worry therapy is pointless. And I would agree.
I think that you could maybe tell her like, hey, you need to go to individual therapy or you can't have a relationship with these kids.
Could
be. I feel like family therapy works more if you got like an immediate family. Like with the immediate family, I don't
feel
know
like
if it's necessarily.
Have your husband maybe go with her?
Yeah,
or like
I think
make
that
it
would
just
make a
thing
little bit
where
more
you're
sense.
Not involved.
I don't know
So
why
you're not there as like
just
a target that
like
she
a
can
punching
just
bag.
like wail on like in therapy, and then you also have your husband there who can like stand up and be like, hey, actually, as her husband, I know that was a lie.
Yeah.
Why would you try to lie about my wife like that?
Why are you trying to lie about my wife?
Yes. But you know what? That's the end of that story. And
That's
that's
the
no lie
end
right
of
there.
that story.
My wife's best friend insulted me in my home, so I banned her.
You shall not pass.
Me and my wife got married a year ago. We both are in our early 20s. I love my wife very much. I do everything for her, take care of her. I know she loves me, and I never felt ashamed for doing what my wife asked me to. And as her husband, I feel like she's my responsibility, and it's my duty to take care of her. By the way, this comes from Substantial Shape 68. If you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, her best friend, BFF, insulted me. Her BFF visits us every few weeks. Always did. We aren't close, but we do talk, but not enough to be friends. But me and my wife's BFF got along. 2 weeks ago, she came to spend time with my wife. After talking to my wife, she came to the living room, and it was just me and her, and my wife was cooking. We're watching the news, and long story short, we were arguing over politics. We went back and forth, and she got angry mad and started getting loud. My wife came, and so was arguing. BFF got so angry that she started insulting me. I didn't like that, but I kept it civil. But she started saying that I am a simp without a backbone. I always hid behind my wife and listened to her all the time, and I am weak. I don't know anything about the real world, and I'm basically my wife's puppy who always listens to her, so I should shut up and listen to my wife's command. I was angry, but I asked her to leave. She said she's sorry for what she said, but I kept asking her to leave. She looked at my wife, and my wife just said it's between you guys and deal with it. I demanded she leaves right away, and she finally left. I felt really bad for what she said, so I went to my wife to talk to her and asked her if you think the way she thinks. My wife said ignore what her best friend said. I am not her puppy or anything like that. I am her husband, and she couldn't have found a better husband, and she's glad that I'm with her.
Oh, that's cute.
We both spent the night together, and my wife said she'll talk to her friend, and she will always be on my side. But yesterday, her best friend visited once again. She said she came to me to apologize. I politely said that I'm currently still angry at her, and it's better if we do not escalate. What you said was extremely disrespectful. I love my wife, will always love her, but that doesn't mean I'm a puppy, and for you to consider me one is disgusting. She said she's extremely sorry for what she said in her anger and didn't mean it. I asked her to leave. My wife simply said it's between you both. Deal with it once again. Later, my wife said I should forgive her best friend, and I should not think about whatever she said, and I am her husband, so no matter whatever decision I make, she will support me. Always choose me over everything else, and if I want to, she will ask her best friend to never come to her home again. Now I'm thinking if I should forgive the best friend or ask my wife to cut her off or not allow her in my house again. Am I the a-hole?
I think that's an overreaction.
A reaction?
Yeah. I think you can be mad about it. We talked about it. She apologized.
Twice.
It's not that bad. Like, I don't know. I don't really like the thing about, like, you know, you'll choose your partner over absolutely everything else in your life. Love you, Riley. But, like, you know.
What? Run that back?
But, like, you know, I think, I don't know. I've just been in a situation where, like, an ex of mine got mad at something that my friend did, and he got way too mad at it. And I think I didn't agree with him, but I kind of had to. I don't know. It was a weird situation, but I've been in her shoes. If OP were to be like, no, she can never come back. I've been in the, like, wife's shoes, and it's not fun. So don't do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Get over it. Maybe it's going to be weird around her, and if it still is, then you can talk about that again. But I think to have her never come back because she called you a simp and a puppy, it's like, come on.
Come on. Plus, it's not even that harsh.
Yeah, like, that's not even an insult. When
She
you
did
really
hit
think
your
about it.
manhood, but
You're good.
how strong's your manhood if you're going to let this stop you from being friends?
Exactly.
Update. After my wife's best friend called me a puppy, I was very angry at her friend. Normally, I would have forgiven her, but I do not feel comfortable about the fact I was insulted. If it was a joke, I wouldn't have cared so much about it. I decided to talk to my wife and share what I think with her. I told her that I want to discuss and share what I feel with her. She sat me down. She said I should tell her everything I feel. I was blunt. I didn't try to sugarcoat it. I said I do not like what her best friend said. I do not like being called names. I am not your obedient puppy. I am your husband, and I listen to you and do everything you ask for because you are my wife. And it's my responsibility to take care of you, to listen to you, and give you whatever you need.
Oh, that's cute.
No, puppy.
That seems a little over the top to me.
What, the way I'm doing it or this guy?
No, that guy.
Yeah,
like-
I
Yeah.
agree. But if your best friend thinks of me like this, that she would call me your puppy as an insult over a pointless political argument, then I fear what your other friends might be thinking about me. Because what she thinks is what everyone thinks. If everyone's making fun of me for treating my wife right and doing everything that is needed for her, I will just stop listening to you and thinking of you all the time. My wife hugged me and said she didn't know that I was thinking this way and said there's nothing wrong or to be ashamed of for a man to listen to his wife. She said that I'm not her puppy, but her husband, and she couldn't have found a better husband than me. She hugged me and kissed me and said she will talk to her best friend and all of our friends, and if I want to not to allow them in our home, she'll ask them not to come over anymore. Wife, don't give him this. Don't give him an inch, because what is he going to
Don't.
take?
A mile. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I can't clap. I've got
Dear gosh.
dude, that's like listen. Look out for number 1. Make space for your friends, guys.
Yep.
You're right. I know it's your husband. I know that's different when you have a family and stuff, but like they're not the most important thing in the world, okay? You are. And if you want your friends, you want your friends. Keep them around.
Oh,
You know what I
wait,
mean?
wait. I said that's not necessary.
There you go. Great.
I said I just feel extremely bad about what she said, and I wonder if she, along with every one of her friends, thinks of me as your dog. I do not want to lose your friends and live a restricted life. All your friends are welcome to our house, but ask your BFF to remain distance from me with limited contact for now, because I'm still angry at her. My wife said she will make sure that I will never get insulted again, and she asked me if I would treat her differently. I said I won't. I love you, and you are my whole world. So no matter what you ask of me, I will always try to do my best to fulfill your desire, because you're my wife. My wife immediately hugged me and kissed me again, and she said she's glad that I'm still thinking of her, and she will fix it all. She's glad that I still think of her, even when I'm hurt. What we did is not relevant, but I'm glad that my wife is still thinking of me and my best interests and cares for me. Update 2.
Excuse me? I'm sorry. What we did is not relevant?
You know what? You
Maybe
know what,
she was
Opie?
right.
I think you are a simp. I think you are a simp. You're a silly little puppy.
Maybe she was right. Dude. Update 2. Posting for advice and more perspective over my situation. For those of you who don't want to read my previous posts, TLDR is, I had a huge argument with my wife's best friend over politics. It got so heated that she started getting angry at me and called me my wife's puppy. And she doesn't care about my opinion because I'm a puppy. I evicted her out and discussed it with my wife. Anyway, in the beginning, I didn't care about it. I was hurt, but I didn't want to hurt my wife's feelings. I thought that I was a man and I should always think about my wife and put her first. But deep down, felt bad, felt humiliated, and kind of did care. Not just by my wife's best friend's words, but also the comments on my post. No! More people are coming after you?
What? Oh no, you
Oh,
poor thing. Just
dude.
get your wife to shut everyone up. and
How can they not
apologize.
see?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I'm just a man that just really cares about his wife.
a few weeks ago after the incident, I told my wife that her friend or any of her close friends is not allowed in our house. My wife asked me to understand why I wouldn't allow her best friend in our house. She doesn't understand why her other close friends aren't allowed. Your other close friends might call me a puppy too. Or even worse,
Holy.
a small little kitten.
Meow.
I can't allow that to happen.
Dude, this guy's yapping his way out of a marriage right now.
I don't know. She might like this. I see little Dommy mommy, and she's like, "It's okay. It's okay."
It's okay, little simp. Mommy's here.
I told her she disrespected me, and your other friends would also might be thinking of me as a puppy. I'm your husband, not a puppy or a dog or whatever. And I'm super pissed about this disrespect, which got me wondering what they might have been talking about behind my back. My wife said she understands, and if I don't want them in our house, then consider it done. I come first. She loves that I listen to her and put her before anything and everything else, and unless I am okay with allowing them in our house, they won't be visiting us. She asked me to never change and said she's willing to lose everything, but not me. I should always listen to her, and she will do the same. After we discussed and agreed on not letting her best friend in our house and lived happily, my wife 2 days ago asked me if I'm down to talk to her best friend, and she truly regrets what she said and wants to apologize. I refused and said I don't want to ever talk to her.
Are we in the 5th grade now?
You're
The
mean.
answer is yes.
And it's better we stay away from each other.
Ah! This is crazy!
I don't want anyone in my life who disrespects me in my own house, and especially in front of my own wife. So it's better if we put this whole situation behind us and start fresh. I asked her if she's on my side or her friends. She said she's with me, but it's better if we reconcile and get along, and her best friend is willing to beg for my forgiveness.
Beg? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need to calm down.
And guys, we beg you to go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime, please, please, please. And there we will please you with plenty of stories. Just please press on one of them and listen.
Yeah, go do that. While I lose my absolute mind over here.
My wife said she won't force me, and it's upon me if I want to forgive her best friend or even talk to her, but she would prefer if we got along, and she doesn't want to lose me, and she is glad that she has found a husband like me, and whatever my decision is, she will agree, and begged me not to change because of what others said about me. Now I'm wondering if I should forgive her best friend and allow her and my wife's other friends in our house for my wife's sake. I think I might be uncomfortable, for which is why she's bringing it up. Not allowing her friends in our house might be stressing her, but it will stress me if I constantly see the person who disrespected me in my house, and my wife allowed it.
I stopped paying rent to my mother because we're losing the house anyway.
Yeah. I've been there, done that.
Hello, everybody who bothers to read this post. From the title, you're probably thinking, yeah, you're the a-hole here, as of course you need to pay rent. But hear me out. I've been sitting on this for a few months, mostly because I noticed how jumbled everything was when I tried to write while everything was going on. I was pretty emotional at the time. By the way, this comes from username, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. Who is username?
No_Baker 3521.
No_Baker 3521. Thank you for your story. Adding something here after typing this up. This is kind of long. I'd grab some popcorn and your favorite drink before reading further.
Well, we're not allowed to eat on the stream.
We're not allowed to eat, so we have to keep reading. For some context, I, 26 female, used to live with my mom, 50 female, after hitting some hardships. My boyfriend, 27 male, also lived with us, as well as my stepdad, 41 male, my deceased brother's 3 kids, 3 male, 6 female, and 11 female, and my cousin, 25 female, with her baby, 2 female. For the end, my other brother, 32 male, was also staying with us temporarily. This was pretty inconvenient, but we made things work. Starting around July or August, I noticed my mom acting weird, not like her usual self. I tried really hard to be there for her, but she had a tendency to shut down on me when I tried. She would start ignoring me and playing on her phone during our conversations. This became a habit, and eventually I quit reaching out. Like they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. She had to want help, and she acted like she didn't. Eventually, she started opening up, only because she was cheating on my stepdad and wanted someone to talk to. Don't talk to me about it.
Yeah, it's
Talk to a therapist about that.
Do not for 1 second wrap me up in that mess.
I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
I was not the one for that conversation, as I've been in a relationship for 9 years and couldn't even think about cheating. I explained that it would be better for her to talk to my stepdad and be honest with him. She didn't like that and really quit talking to me. She started bringing this guy over on weekends while my dad was out working with my brother a few hours away. His company paid for a hotel, and my stepdad would stay with him during the week and come home on weekends. She also quit communicating with me about important things. I was simply living there and didn't have much say, but I was never shy about expressing my concerns. Now, here's where things get hard. My mom is extremely avoidant and dodges conflict way too often. I noticed she was starting to hit rock bottom, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't pick her up, and she wouldn't talk to anyone about it. She was struggling, and eventually I figured out why. For context, our rent was split between us. The total rent was $2,100 a month. I started by paying $700 until my cousin moved in, and then I paid $500. She paid $200. My stepdad paid $900, and my mom was only responsible for the remaining $500. I got paid weekly, so I just gave her $125 every week. I even offered to pay part of the utilities, but my mom insisted everything was fine. Then the constable showed up at our house for the first time.
Not the constable.
I was shocked when he told me we were behind on rent by $6,000. Y'all are like 3 months behind on rent?
That's 12 months of her not paying her part.
Yeah.
But like, y'all should be knowing if she's paying her part or not, I assume, right? I assume that your landlord wouldn't be accepting rent checks that are $500 short of what y'all owe
wouldn't
every
you have
month.
gotten any, unless he was talking to her, the mother, this whole time, and not to OP.
But even still, that's like, yeah, that's 3 months of rent.
Yeah.
It's like,
How did that happen?
mm.
I wanted to cry as she had never mentioned any problems. At first, she played it off well. That's weird. I just got off the phone with the landlord and he said everything was fine. Don't worry, I have everything under control. I should have known better. A week went by and I paid my share of the rent, trying to get back to normal. Then I came home from work to find paperwork taped to the door. This time I read the first few lines. It was another eviction action notice. I took pictures and left the packet on the door for my mom to find. Unfortunately, I no longer have the pictures as I broke that phone and can't retrieve anything from it. At this point, my anxiety was through the roof. I tried talking to her, but she just told me to keep paying rent as usual. I couldn't help but express my concerns, but she shrugged them off. This is where I beat myself up. My gut was screaming at me. I didn't want to be in that house anymore, and I even told my boyfriend how worried I was. I'm confused why you would continue to pay her rent when you're getting eviction notices.
Right. Like, that's kind of what you do. Unless you're going to be able to pay all of that right
Yeah.
away, time to stop paying rent.
Yeah, or just like go directly to the landlord. I don't understand why you would
Who's on the lease? That's
continue
also important
trusting
here.
your mother when she clearly is not paying.
Who is legally liable for this rent money on paper?
Yeah.
Who is...
Well, no, I mean,
what
OP,
is this situation where somehow $6,000 can just be not accounted for?
I'm assuming that OP is not on the lease because otherwise the landlord would probably go straight to her for payment.
It's...
Yeah, or for her
we
share.
are missing a lot of important info here, for sure.
This was the first time I considered withholding my paychecks to save for an apartment. My boyfriend really wanted to trust my mom, though, as he had recently started a job and was paying her $450. This was news to me, but I figured it would be okay if he thought so. Boy, was I wrong. The constable showed up a third time. Not once did my mom have to speak with him, which really pissed me off. I hate unexpected situations like this. He was very adamant that if he had to come back again, we would only have 10 minutes to grab what we could and leave. Now I was scared. I had talked to my mom so many times, and she had even said some pretty hurtful things to me. I gave up trying to reason with her and reached out to the landlord directly. I had never spoken to him before. I just don't understand why. You had never spoken to him.
I feel like we've got some youth in this story for
26.
sure. I feel like we have some people who have stayed pretty close to home, maybe.
Yes.
This
I
might
would
be
agree.
their only situation they're aware of or familiar with.
I agree. I
I
think there's a little bit of
yeah.
naivete.
You got to look out for, at some point, but it's really hard to say when you've probably been conditioned to look out for the family first
Yeah.
forever. And then, but like at some point you do have to like cover yourself, watch out for yourself,
I just think
save
like
that money for the
in
apartment.
general, regardless of if it is a family member or a close friend, if you get a visit from someone who says, "Hey, $6,000 hasn't been paid," and OP's has a job, is getting money.
Yeah.
Just check in. You can be like, "Hey, mom, did you check in?" And if she goes, "Oh, it's fine," like just double check. I have never spoken to him before, so I was in for a huge surprise. I sent him a lengthy text explaining that I was concerned my mom wasn't telling me the truth and asked what was going on. Later that day, he called me and dropped a bombshell. We were no longer on a yearly lease. We had been staying there on a month-to-month basis. He had been trying to work with my mom on payments, but at some point, everything got derailed. It was like pulling teeth to get a hold of her or receive any form of payment. Then he told me he hadn't seen a single dime for all of November 2024. I was heartbroken.
Oof. Wait, what's she spending that money on?
I had been paying my mom all that money for what? My money, my boyfriend's money, everyone's money was being sent to her and no one knew where it was going. She was clearly using it to set herself up elsewhere. I had noticed that when the constable was showing up, she was never home. Even my brother complained about how she avoided him and would only come home for 5 to 10 minutes before leaving. She had also started taking some of her things little by little. She's moving out. She's stealing your money and she's moving out. It all made sense and it hurt so bad. She had lied so much and basically thrown us to the wolves. At this point, I stopped sending her money, and though I wish I had done it sooner, if my brother had gotten an Airbnb, my boyfriend and I would have to sleep in our car with our 2 cats and tortoise. I drive a Prius, so that would have been fun. Thankfully, I learned how blessed I am to have certain people in my life. My boyfriend and I had saved up everything we could and managed to get a place. Shout out to my 2 regular customers who've heard about my situation and gave me $100 each. They were the only reason we were able to move in on time. It's closer to my job and has given me a sense of peace. I am still dealing with the fact that my mom forged my signature on the lease. Sue her? Sue her?
What is going on?
Can we sue her?
Where did this come from?
I know I never signed anything, and the only time I saw the lease was when my mom showed me that the house was on HOA property. Because of this, I am now being hit with half her debt. Her debt grew due to court and constable fees, bringing the total to over $16,000. Thankfully, after explaining my side to the landlord, I only have to pay $2,000.
What? You should have to pay nothing.
I mean, I think you should go to court and say, hey, my signature was forged.
Yeah, you're a victim of fraud. What? The landlord's like, okay.
He's like, okay,
Just
you're a
$2,000.
victim of fraud. I guess we can swing a little bit less.
It's just a little 2,000 here and there. We'll call it a day.
It still sucks, but it's better than $8,000, so I agreed. A defense lawyer helped me create an agreement stating that once I paid my portion, the landlord couldn't report anything to a credit bureau. So yay, my credit is saved, and I won't have an eviction in my name. The landlord even wants to help me go after my mom for damages. I've thought about it, but I'm currently at a low to no contact point with her. What she did was awful, but I can't bring myself to go after her legally. She will get what's coming to her. I just don't have to be part of it. I'm still frustrated, but honestly, I don't know if I would have left at all if this hadn't happened. I was already hitting a point where I hated that house, but the rent was cheap when split, and I don't think I could make it on my own. I will probably sit on the fact that I'm not an a-hole in this situation. I was lied to, stolen from, and left homeless due to her failure to communicate. Sometimes I think I could have tried harder to help her, or I beat myself up for not listening to my gut, but I am blessed to still have my mom, and I forgive her. Wow.
That's a very angel baby move right there.
However, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation, and that's been a hard pill to swallow. Not talking to her is difficult, but when she expected an apology from me, it made it easier to not feel bad about it. That's crazy. Like, insane to be like, you have to apologize to me. When you literally, I stole all your money and I used it to pay for a new place.
Yeah, I need an apology for only letting me defraud you for $16,000.
Should have let me defraud you for more if you really loved me.
Yeah, if you
Am I
were
even your
really...
mother?
Yeah.
That was way more than I expected, and I may have missed a few notes, but that's okay. It's late, and I get to go to court tomorrow for a whole other reason. Thanks to anyone reading. But you guys can listen to us read more stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Poke Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story.
Just a little bit of
Just
story.
a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I would say legally, like, try to not pay the $2,000. Although it sounds like you were gonna be on the hook for that, and I'm sure that you can like manage that with like a payment plan or something. Yeah, your mom being like, "I need an apology," makes it way easier to stop caring about it at all.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I won't be talking to you anymore.
Yeah, sorry you live in like a weird delusional land where the person who was defrauded needs to apologize to the person who defrauded them.
Weird. Weird.
Yeah, but
there's a little bit more. Just some extra stuff. To clarify, yes, I live with my mom. No, not for 26 years. This was about 3 to 4 years I lived with my boyfriend and his family, but they are on a whole nother level of crap. So desperate times called for desperate measures. And then I moved in with my mom for support. I have paid her rent since living with her. We lived in 2 different houses during the 3 to 4 years we stayed with her. My passed away brother's kid ended up getting sent back to their mom before crap hit the fan. They're doing great.
Thank goodness.
My cousin got a place near my mom. I have no idea where that is, but it is nearby. My brother moved to New Mexico to be with his dad. We have different dads. Never have we considered each other half siblings, though. My stepdad, I don't know if he knows she cheated. I wanted to tell him, but I couldn't bring myself to get in the middle of her crap. I have no idea where he is. He left due to substances and ended up in the hospital. He's fine, got out, and disappeared. And
Disappeared in the bush?
Everyone's just getting out of there, skedaddling. Someone yelled scatter, and they all scatter. Comment 1, did she give you receipts when you paid rent? I'd go after her since you're still on the hook for $2,000. She's probably confident that you won't do anything. Opie says she never gave me anything to show I paid her, but I do have bank statements for the months she never paid. The lawyer mentioned that's all I needed to prove I was paying her. I could easily do something about it, but I think she already is going through a lot. I mean, she put you through a lot. Opie is too kind.
Such a little angel baby.
Plus, the landlord will be hitting her for over $14,000, and I'm only dealing with $2,000. I believe in karma, and it will come back around, even if I'm not involved. I also think what's holding me back is I want to be nothing like her, and I know she's the type of person who hurts others at their lowest. At this point, I'm doing better than she is, despite the situation. She's alone, has outrageous fines and fees to pay, and I learned she's living in a crappy extended stay motel. If I do anything, I'll be no better than her at this point. She can keep her confidence. For all I care, I have so much more. My irresponsible friend took advantage of my kindness for years. I finally evicted her.
Get evicted, irresponsible wench.
Let me start this with my boyfriend and I were put into a very lucky situation with a house. However, it is still in my mother's name and she could easily evict us, especially since she does not know about any of this from me. She may have heard some from neighbors, but that's about it. By the way, this comes from Reasonable Camel 457, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/Okie Storytime subreddit. So, I, 27 female, and my boyfriend, 24 male, who I'll call John for clarification, have been living in our current house for 3 years. We moved in because my parents owned 2 houses, and my grandma was too old for her own 40 acres of land. So my parents moved my grandma into one house that was paid off, and asked John and me if we wanted to finish paying off the other house while living in it. My mom and I have an agreement where I pay a little less for the mortgage because I have health issues and am unable to work as many hours. The house itself needs a lot of work that John and I are paying for out of pocket, so it was a win-win for everyone. Things changed. But that's just backstory to the real issue. I have a friend, 28 female, who I'll call Jane, who goes away for work every summer. Her long-term relationship ended and she needed a place to stay for the winter with her dog. John and I were happy to share a room in our house and gave her a very reasonable rent fee of $150 a month.
Very reasonable.
Very reasonable.
More like the most reasonable. What?
Dude, that's like a climbing membership in a more expensive place. The room was very small, but she had her own full bathroom and basically the entire upstairs to herself. She had a full bathroom and the entire upstairs for $150 a month.
For $150 a month?
That's
All right.
insane.
I'll take that deal.
Yeah.
Please. That year we had small issues. It was new and John and I were still figuring out living together. We also all worked together, so it was a lot of time together and not enough time alone. During this time, Jane was dating a guy that was married but planning to leave her. Aren't they all? So the whole time Jane stayed with us, all she did was cry about her man. At one point, I even stopped her and told her I needed a friend to listen to me vent. However, she just cried more about her own problems and then disappeared before I ever got a word in. Now, mind you, I'm painfully shy and extremely passive until I'm pushed to a limit, and then I'm a bombshell. So I never pushed her for conversation, but I did always assume that as a friend, she would eventually listen to me. You would hope. Well, this went on for the winter, and I slowly started to hold on to these feelings of regret because the entire time she was staying with us, she was being a bad roommate on top of being a poor friend. That is not good.
That's a terrible combo.
She would constantly leave her elderly dog out of its kennel because she felt bad, but then the dog would get into the trash or use the bathroom on the carpet. Yoicks.
To be fair, though, I do feel bad for dogs that are just in a kennel all the time. But a kennel is a tool, and you can use it very well. And a lot of times, psychologically, dogs feel they feel secure in a kennel. You just have to make it
depends
not.
on how you're using it.
You know, put some fluff stuff in there.
Since I was always first home, I wasn't just going to leave the messes on my floor. I never made her feel bad for it, though. Just repeatedly suggested she kennel it. She would leave bags of food in the room, and we never had any problems with ants until she started staying there. No!
Dude, I hate ants.
Ants!
The creepy, crawly little ants.
One time, I went up into her room and found a BK cup tipped over, spilling onto my cloth dresser. Still, I kept letting things go, reminding myself she'd be gone once summer hit, and she was. Well, this year comes along, and John and I think maybe it'll be better. We had more time to get ourselves together. John has a new job, which keeps him away most days, and it'll be nice to have the company of my best friend again. John was hesitant, but agreed because I promised it'd be different. That's on you. Honestly, that's on you now, because you already live with her, and you know exactly how she is. That's on you.
Putting that on you. You think she's going to change. She ain't changing.
Did you have any proof? Your proof was that John has a job, and it was just different worse. Now, Jane is with, let's call him Richard for obvious reasons. Richard, he's a 45-year-old man with a daughter of his own, and all he does is verbally abuse Jane. He tells her things like, I've never seen anyone put on weight as fast as you. And yet Jane won't leave Richard, which is, whatever, not my place to tell her, especially since John and I started off rocky, though not that rocky. And we were also 21 and 19 respectively, but still, I wouldn't have a problem with Richard. But one time, Jane forgot her phone at his house during one of their arguments. I saw him on our Ring camera and sent her a text saying, hey, I can't get to the door, but I see Richard is here. Everything okay? Richard proceeds to text me aggressively about how he knows Jane and I are talking because we're texting. Well, Jane had nothing but a phone and Richard had it. Oh, her only device was a phone and Richard had that phone.
It's like, that's like the same thing as that's almost the equivalent, I feel like, of like someone having your passport.
Yeah.
Not being allowed access to like a phone or like to communicate.
Yeah, and for him to be like, I know you're texting. You have her. How is she texting anyone?
She's not. You have her phone.
You literally have her phone. But needless to say, I now have beef with some man I could take out at the knees. Richard apologized to me by telling Jane he was sorry and to tell me. And I'm not sure about you all, but I didn't feel like he was apologizing to me. It felt like he was apologizing to Jane about me, and she just vomited out the same words to me. This man called me immature, stupid, and implied I was a witch because he didn't like what I was saying. This 45-year-old man with his own daughter. Nevertheless, Jane and Richard have caused several issues, from screaming outside my house in front of my nosy neighbors, who happen to be friends with my mother, to Jane showing up at my front door with arms filled with luggage, a dog kennel, and even her off-leash dog running amok. I no longer have any respect for Richard and his childish nature, and I've made it clear he's not welcome here. Not to mention the room. Same things happened. Jane wouldn't kennel her dog. The dog made messes. I constantly cleaned them up. I never made a big deal out of it, as I have 4 of my own animals, including 1 dog. And I understand these things happen.
She's not cleaning up after her own dog.
Why did you invite her back?
It's your dog. You have to clean up after your dog.
Whatever, I didn't work. She'd leave her dog for me to babysit, and she would pay me in a few plants. But what John and I really wanted was just for her to deal with her own dog.
Exactly.
Then she finally kenneled the dog, and the dog ruined my curtains. They weren't that expensive, so I wasn't going to pressure her or be mean about it. However, in the moment, it was upsetting. So I left the damaged curtain on top of the dog kennel, hoping she'd just apologize and we could move on. She didn't. That was months ago, and now she says, I never knew. The room itself is about 10 by 8, which is very, very small. It's basically a large closet. How she didn't notice something in that space is amazing. True talent. We did raise her rent for this winter to $275, still extremely cheap. We did raise her rent for this room to $275, still extremely cheap, as someone else offering a room near us is charging $650 and only went down to $600 upon Jane's request, and I'll never be there. We were even willing to lower our $275 because we felt it was too much for what she was getting. In the house that cost $600, she wouldn't even have her own bathroom. So realizing now, Jane has a pretty good deal here just with rent alone. Not to mention, she leaves an item trail from our front door up our stairs, across the landing, and to her room. Also, mind you, she has an elderly small dog, and I have a very young medium dog. I have made a secure, safe place on our stairs for the elderly dog, including giving up an entire laundry basket so that he has a place to sleep. She not only doesn't secure him on the stairs, meaning he can get into her room and trash it, but she will fill his basket with shoes and then leave him on the stairs knowing he has nowhere to lay. She's a terrible dog owner.
Yeah, people like this should not own animals.
On top of that, Jane will then leave water bowls all over the footing of the stairs where we often step and spill them.
Ugh.
Stop.
And I guarantee you, she's like, that's your fault.
Yeah, she's like, why'd you step on them? The stairs are carpeted. No, John and my entire house is carpeted, except for the bathrooms and kitchen. Looking back, I could have trapped him in her bathroom, but it gets so hot upstairs, I was always concerned for Jane's dog. Meanwhile, she was off fighting with Richard over the dumbest things, like her acne and how he's making Rudolph jokes towards her.
Rudolph. Oh.
because she's got acne. Now the trash. We have never had problems with ants, but this year, weirdly, we do. We know that someone in the house is constantly leaving trash in the room. So I openly confront Jane about the ants and the trash. A week later, we're back to leaving trash and my dishes upstairs.
Well, why don't we just look at the ants as like a free,
They should pay
protein
rent.
subscription? You've got a trail of protein that walks in by itself every day. All you got to do is pick them up and pop them in your mouth. Now you've got free ant protein. They don't even taste like anything, guys. They're just ants. They're so small, they don't taste like anything.
Again,
It's like that.
OP's saying, oh, we never had problems with ants. You had problems with ants.
You did.
When Jane was there.
Crazy.
Consider it mocked.
Consider it mocked.
Man, oh man, does this girl order DoorDash. My parents know I can barely work, yet they see a constant flow of DoorDash and Amazon packages. Is this our house? And I'm sure they're wondering where I
Call
get the
yourself
money.
out, girl.
Funny enough, it isn't mine. She has no care to hide the fact that she is not supposed to be living here and has had no problem risking it for John and me. And although I'm sure I could sway my own mother into letting us keep her, why would Jane want to put me in the position to have that conversation when we're already doing her a solid by letting her stay here for the winter? Oh, did I not mention the dishes? Jane would use our dishes, which is fine, even though we primarily use paper dishes. So I was almost solely washing what she used. But I even told her, don't worry about washing them because I'm OCD. It'd be better if I did it. It was fine until she started bringing her personal dishes she bought, down for me to wash. I still did it because I didn't think too much about it. I'm already doing dishes, right? It's not that any of these things alone are that big of a problem. It's that it kept going. Jane kept taking more and more and more. And if all that wasn't enough, wait until you hear about the laundry.
Wait, but what do you mean, OP? Your perspective is all wrong. It's like not that any of these things alone they're all problems for someone who's paying essentially $5 to live in an entire like bedroom, bathroom, like utilities paid, like all this. That's a huge problem.
And I would feel bad for you, OP, if you didn't invite her back.
Yeah, well, clearly OP doesn't really think that there's that much of a problem going on here.
You frustrate me. Our basement is a Michigan basement. It's gross and I'm embarrassed by it. It also contains our washer and dryer. To avoid my embarrassment, I sucked it up and told her I'd wash her clothes.
Stop it. See, this is the problem. You're enabling all of this behavior by not like putting your foot down.
I no longer feel bad for you. When the story started, I felt bad for you. Now you know, and you knew in advance what she was like, and you're just letting her get away with everything.
It's all part of the payment plan at this
Jane
point.
is literally seeing how far she can go and getting away with everything.
And apparently it's very far.
Extremely far.
With a few exceptions, such as bringing them down on Mondays when I do laundry.
What are we talking about?
She
You're her
never did.
maid. You're her maid.
And she never did. She'd wait weeks and pile up loads of clothes and then just smile and say, sorry, I'm a POS, but and that's not even an exaggeration, that's verbatim. On top of that, she'd wear several outfits a day. I'd watch her change her clothes 6 times in one day. How many different outfits do you need? We live in a town with less than 10,000 people. Who are you dressing up for? And she never once thought, oh, I wear a lot. Maybe I should take some clothes somewhere else. She just assumed that I would wash all of them with no problem. I finally stopped asking her to bring them down because it wasn't my problem. And that's Jane's favorite thing to say, it's not my responsibility. She's 28 years old and still hasn't learned that sometimes we take on others' responsibilities just because we are farmers. I mean adults. Jane wouldn't offer to work a shift for me on my birthday because it wasn't her responsibility. And then after making me feel guilty for even implying she could work it, she tried to make me feel guilty for not just asking her. As if it wasn't hard hearing her witch and moan about, well, why can't this 16-year-old kid with 3 brain cells do it by themselves? And the 16-year-old kid is a cool kid. No hate against them, but they can't do my job. If I need them as backup and I've been doing it for almost 10 years, then why would they be able to do it alone after a year? You might ask yourselves, I thought you said winters, but it's fall now, and this all sounds recent. That's because Jane decided with Richard that she wasn't going away for the summer. Jane didn't ask John or me. Jane just assumed we'd be okay with it because if you can't gather, we're good people. And I am a people pleaser, sadly. Yeah,
yes.
that's obvious.
You got the CPP.
Put your foot down, please.
It's true that what you're doing is arguably good from an optic standpoint, but like if you really broke it down, what you're doing is bad because you're enabling this person to live in fairy tale fantasy land where they don't have to change any of their bad behavior or do anything in order to like survive in reality.
Yeah.
So you're not doing them any favors. You're kind of, they're being stunted and they need to wake up to the reality that they
Not to mention that we are extremely against the use of hard substances. To each their own, but family has affected both John's and my lives with substances such as crystals.
Such as the Walter White.
I was just going to say crystals. And spicy flour.
Christology.
And so we aren't here for it. Jane once showed up at 4 a.m., very wasted, yet very hyper. It didn't take a genius to figure out she had snorted spicy flour.
She took a dance in the spicy flour.
While staying under my roof, knowing my feelings on the matter. Some have even said Richard is supplying Jane, and that's why she stays. It breaks my heart.
I've seen that happen a couple times.
That's rough.
Yeah. Sometimes. So don't stay away from the spicy flour, kids.
Yes. And I told her if she did it again under my roof, she'd be gone for good because we just don't move like that. Unrelated, but I had a coworker try to OD thinking that I would save him. What? I only offered to let him shower because his water was turned off and I was trying to be a good person. Needless to say, he went to jail shortly after that for unrelated incidents.
Needless to say.
Unrelated? Who is this person?
Needless to say.
What was that about?
Where did that come from?
Probably for the best. Bless his soul. But that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to why we don't like the use of hard substances. So I've repeatedly given the girl everything just to be ignored and taken advantage of. And when I say ignored, I mean ignored. I'm not going to pretend I'm perfect. I'm petty for sure. And my personal emotions have spilled out into irrelevant conversations with Jane. And I've gotten snippy over work-related things that I definitely shouldn't have. But she thought, oh, there's something wrong. Maybe if I avoid and ignore her and plan to move out without saying anything, everything will be fine. I didn't know she was planning to finally move out after 6+ months, even though it was supposed to be 3 at max. So I finally confront her about rent. See, Jane, thought you paid for rent at the end of the month. She paid for the month of July on July 19th and called it early. And I just laughed and shrugged it off. At least we were getting the rent, right? LOL. I finally tell her today, rent for August is due, and if you plan to be here for September, then it needs to be paid within the first week. She proceeds to tell me how I've been rude towards her. Ha! I have been. It's been deserved. The only time I felt I could get a word in between her complaining about work or Richard was when I was being rude. I suppose I'm sorry for that, but should I be? I have asked her, told her, we need to talk. I really need a friend. And then when I wasn't ready, the one and single time she wanted to talk, she took that as, we just don't need to anymore. She just assumed I'd text her my issues, even though she made it very, very clear she doesn't like texting conversations like that. But now I'm sitting here wondering, am I the a-hole? After 2 years of this, of feeling unheard and used after trying to give Jane a second chance, I feel like I am because I finally let it all out. Am I the a-hole? And there are some comments which I need to read before we say anything further.
Oh, come on. All right.
Comment 1. Oh, wow. This is a bad situation you and John have gotten yourselves into again.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for you. Here's what I think would help. First, you should not be hiding a tenant from your mother. That's dishonest and wrong. She holds the mortgage and deed on the house for you and gives you a break on your rent amount. She would not have agreed to a sloppy tenant with an animal and bug infestations in her house. That's messed up too. I didn't even think about it. I forgot that your mom was your landlord basically.
I also forgot
And you're hiding a tenant from her? Is that true? Is that what happened? So second, you need to give Jane notice that she has to move out ASAP. She has been careless with her tenancy length, month-to-month rent payments, and extensions. So just get her out.
You ready for this? I found it. Literally the opening paragraph. Let me start with this. My boyfriend and I were put into a very lucky situation with a house. However, it is still in my mother's name and she can easily evict us.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. So the
Nice.
mother is the landlord, and you guys are deceiving your mom.
The great
Yeah,
deceiver.
you're the a-hole. You're the a-hole a little bit.
Everybody's right?
Yeah. Third, try to work on your passive aggressiveness. It is pretty severe. You bottle up a lot, seethe behind your teeth, and then explode. You say you're a people pleaser, but this is not pleasing. This is
Nice.
This does not please me.
Please yourself.
This is highly dysfunctional and not fair to you or the people around you. Lastly, when you have good information about a person or a situation, believe yourself. Exactly. You know you never should have had her there in the first place, let alone allowed her back for a second year. You have to trust yourself that you have a good head on your shoulders and can show good judgment. So follow it. Listen to yourself and to John. He knew better too, but you didn't listen to him either. Good luck. And that is the end of that story, but I fully agree with that comment. Get her out of there. She
It's
needs to
time.
be gone.
She needs to be vamoosed. My father sued my sister after selling her a failing business.
That's why you don't mix family and business.
So, a bit of backstory. My parents got divorced 33 years ago. Oh, and at that time, they both owned several houses. When they separated their assets, my mother got the home she lives in now, and my father got the home he lives in now, but he tried to still take the home she lives in by not paying the mortgage payments and not telling her he hadn't paid the mortgage.
Stinky.
Moving in silence, but this guy is not a G. This guy is a S because he stinks. By the way, this comes from user Lisa Skadell, and you can submit your stories on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, had it not been for my godfather loaning my mom the money to get the payments up to date, my father would have put my mother and his 3 kids out on the street. Fast forward 28 years later, my father owned his own business, and he was looking for someone to buy it, and so my sister offered to buy it from him. They agreed on price and signed the contract. Now, here's the rub. The business was actually a business that was losing customers because it is a flailing industry, and my father never told my sister that. My sister is one of the hardest workers I know, and she put everything she had into this business, and nothing she was doing was working. And that wasn't because she wasn't doing the right thing. It was because the business in and of itself was a dying medium for that industry. During the course of all of this, after my father had finally retired, they got into an argument about a financial matter in dealing with the company, and my father was completely disrespectful in the way he handled it towards my sister. He did that in front of her employees. My sister stopped talking to him at that point, and over the next couple of months, despite my sister's extensive hard work, the company went under, and my sister had to close the business after it had been open for 38 years. My sister was devastated by this because not only did she put all of her hard work, her blood, sweat, and tears into it, but also put all of her financial resources, which meant that she was financially devastated as well. Dude, and the dad's just like letting this happen. So, clearly because the business closed, my sister could not continue to pay my dad's payment she was paying him for his business. Then she found out that the business had already been on a downward spiral, and in fact, my father had taken money out of his own account to put into the business because he knew it was dying when he sold it to her. He literally scammed his own daughter in the sale, for lack of a better way of saying it. Because she stopped paying him, he decided that he was going to sue her in court with a judge and everything. Now, for context, a few years before all of this happened, my mom had gotten sick and gone to the hospital, and at the time I lived across the country, and my brother lived across the country as well, and the only one who lived in the same state was my sister. My mother was afraid that if something happened to her, we wouldn't get the house, so she put the house in my sister's name since my sister lived the closest. The house was still in my mother's name as well, but my sister's name was added to it. After my mom got out of the hospital, she never got around to changing it. So when my father started threatening to sue, my sister went through her assets and realized that my mother's house was still in her name and switched it back over to just my mother's name. In our state, however, we have a law that if you think someone fraudulently switches the asset out of their name in order to avoid being sued for it, you can sue them for that asset still. And it's up to them to prove that it wasn't fraudulently transferred. I swear, if the dad gets away with some legal effery here, I'm gonna be mad.
If he has a good enough lawyer, he could do that.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, now you're transferring the house out of your name so that I can't sue you for those assets. And it's like, well, first of all, they're not mine.
And the sister's doing everything out of her good heart.
A lot of lawyers got to be psychos because it's like, how could you represent that guy? How could you represent, yeah, I'm trying to sue the house out from under my family that I abandoned, and I also sold them a poison pill business that failed.
Dude, it's all about this, man.
It's all about the do-re-mi. So, when my father decided to sue my sister, he added my mother's house onto the lawsuit as one of the things he wanted. He didn't sue my sister for the house that she owns in her name with her husband in a whole nother city. She sued her for a house she hasn't lived in over 25 years and a house that she has not put any money into ever in her life. Now, when he first filed the suit, I thought he was just trying to force my sister to talk to him because I couldn't imagine any parent, let alone my parents, actually suing their child. But he actually went through with it. He initially told me that he was suing for my mother's house because the lawyer told him he had to sue for all of her assets. And since my mother's house had been in her name, he had to sue for that as well as her house. But then I found out he wasn't suing her for her house. He was suing her only for my mother's house. He's still mad that he didn't get my mom's house 33 years ago when they got a divorce. So mad that he lost in that case that he decided to go after her house the first chance he got. And this was it, 33 years later. What a just pathetic, sad little man.
Having that much resentment, impeccable.
The even more messed up thing is that when I found out he was going after my mother's house, I myself told him, if you go through with this lawsuit and you win my mother's house, you will take her house away from her. I will never forgive you. I will never talk to you again, and you will lose me. And losing me will also mean you lose your grandchild, your only grandchild. So you need to think about whether or not it is still worth it to you. And he still went through with it. Of course he did, girl. He doesn't care about you guys. What do you mean?
You guys were only made in the purpose of somehow getting that house back.
He was like, oh, you're going to remove yourself? I won't have to hear you ever again? Nice. You should have said that earlier. I would have sued you way faster. Crazy. He still went through with it knowing that he would not only lose my sister, but me as well. He filed this lawsuit 5 years ago, and they just got through going to court. So for the last 5 years, he's forced his daughter, his princess, his baby girl, to suffer under the weight of knowing that her father, A, screwed her over, and B, was putting money before her, and C, apparently felt no real remorse or sadness to hurting his own child emotionally, mentally, and financially. The worst part is he didn't just teach her that. He taught all 3 of his kids with this one act. He did all of this because he thinks that even though he got everything in the divorce, with the exception of primary custody of us kids and the one house, that he is entitled to take my mom's house after 33 years of her living there.
We're going to get back to the story, but Sam, you have a copious amount of something.
What, John?
X's.
I have like 4 or 5 or 6.
I heard of 6 with a 0
All
behind
right,
it.
that 60 number, comes from somewhere else.
Where does that come from?
It comes from our OK Storytime membership.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Join a club almost as exclusive as Sam's X is. But let's get back to the story.
Putting all of her time and energy into making it a home for us kids and putting her own money into improving it and her paying off the mortgage on her own as a single mother while raising 3 teenage children on what would be considered poverty wages today. We grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. He hasn't put a dime into that property since 1988. And yet he somehow feels like he's entitled to take it away from my mother without even caring about the damage it would do to his own children. So, really quickly, this is not your father. This is a monster. This is the devil in human clothing. Like, it sucks that it had to, like, crystallize and become apparent to you in this way, but, like, this guy was always this guy, which can be a hard thing to stomach, I think.
I think what hurts the most is if I was the wife and this is who I married turned out to be.
Can you imagine being this guy's partner now and finding out, wait, you're doing what?
Like weaponizing his own kids to get your house.
Well, and you know how some people have some idea in their head that it's okay to mistreat your kid if they're not your biological kids, like a stepchild or foster child or an adoptive child, which I think is disgusting in its own right, but there are people out there who actually believe that. So for those out there who actually believe that it's okay to mistreat your child if they're not your bio child, I say this. It's not like we're like his stepchildren or foster children or children he adopted or any other random crazy excuse that some people try to use to justify their own abuse of their children. We are his biological flesh and blood, and there's no denying it because we look very similar to him and his family. I don't know. I feel like you kind of have to be a sociopath to do this. You know, like just the remorseless. You don't care the effect that it's going to have on your kids. All you care is that you're going to win and that you're going to get the house.
Would you say narcissist?
A lot of sociopaths are narcissists, yeah. Actually, I think all of them are. But not all narcissists are sociopaths. But all sociopaths are narcissists. I just can't stop thinking what kind of sick lump sues their own kid. There's an update. Let's just get into it. I commented on this down below, but I thought I'd add this update. A lot of people here have said that my sister needed to do her due diligence in examining the business. My sister did examine all of the business records for the last 10 years, and she had a lawyer go over the contract with a fine-tooth comb. It wasn't a matter of her not doing her due diligence. It was a matter of the business records that she was given were very different from the business records that held the actual information necessary. For lack of a better way to say it, he cooked the books, which that is how you say that. And that's also illegal.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you do a countersue?
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but I would say that if the business was sold to you with like false accounting information, then yeah, it's probably grounds to completely nullify whatever agreement you guys had to pay for it. Anyway, for those wondering about the outcome, she actually did file a countersuit for him selling her a business that was unviable.
Hire me for any of your business conflicts. You need a lawyer, hire me.
Riley the lawyer.
Dude, with me and ChatGPT, I can do anything.
So she was able to prove in court that the business was failing before he sold it to her, and that the equipment he sold her was equipment that he had bought 20 years ago and was no longer usable when it came to the technology of today. Also, I was already pretty sure that no jury worth their salt would give him a house that my sister never put a dime in and hadn't lived in for over 25 years, especially when he wasn't going after any of her other assets, and I was right. When they got to the court, my sister told the judge and the jury that she didn't want anything from him in her countersuit. She didn't want money, and she didn't want anything from him but for this to be over. He told the court and the jury, but he just wanted my mother's house in lieu of the $300K my sister owed him for the business.
$300K?
Hey, businesses are expensive, brother.
Dude, you just made her basically bankrupt, and now you're trying to get $300K?
Scumbag University, and the dean of Scumbag University is this frickin' guy. This pathetic excuse of a human being. This sack of rotten vegetables. So, my father lost his lawsuit. My sister won her lawsuit and was given $0, as that's what she was asking for.
Stop being a saint. Get some money out of this. Girl.
I would have asked for a little bit of my money back.
Yes, at least.
I think her asking for nothing is part of what made her have a slam dunk case. Because the dad was trying to be like, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, dude, I don't know. I just want this to stop. Can we please make this stop? I don't even want money. So he permanently lost one daughter, and the other one, myself, is seriously questioning whether or not I want to talk to him ever again. Over the last 10 years, I've maintained a relationship with my father, but not because it's what he wanted, but because it's what I wanted. Now I just don't know if that's something I want anymore, which I would hope that you don't want that anymore. I don't know if I want to be around the kind of person that could sue his own child, and there is a second update, but first.
So my okay story time is I have a family member, it's like an uncle. His own kid stole like $80K, probably $100,000 from him, opening up credit cards in his name and like expedited a lot or like exploited a lot of people's finances. The dad had to go through and sue him through this because he didn't want this to happen to another family member where that kid would manipulate another family member. I say, don't be around the dad anymore, because if he's willing to do it to his most hardworking daughter and con her into buying a failing company, you should have nothing to do with that man. You warned him. You go through this, you will never see your grandkid. What do you do? What was that? I didn't hear anything. Oh, wait, I actually don't even care. Never mind. No, do not be near him. Be done.
You mean you'll stop yapping at me and I get to take your sister's money and I get the house? So, update number 2. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their comments and their concerns, regardless of whether or not I agreed. You took time out of your day, and it's truly appreciated. For those who were wondering, I did try to have a relationship with my father to some extent again after telling him exactly how I felt about what he did, and making it clear to him that those were my feelings and they weren't going to change. Unfortunately, my father is my father, and I ended up not being able to put aside what he had done from who he is. Basically, at the end of the day, what he had done is directly a result of who he is. Dude, thank God you realized that, because he's a trash man and you don't need him around.
And this story's almost over. I wish we had more to read.
It is almost over. And I'm just going to tell you right now, if you don't want it to end, you can go find full episodes with stories like this. All you got to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, and you just got to search OK Storytime. And once you search OK Storytime, you'll have thousands of hours, days upon days worth of listening to do.
I think probably like 3 or 4 months. Solid.
I've stopped talking to him for the time being. Ironically, the thing that got me there was an argument over lettuce. Basically, he wanted to give me lettuce that I would never use, and I repeatedly told him I would never use it, but he kept insisting that I come over and get it. OP, that is a very weird reason for that to be the thing that made you cut off your dad, who scammed your sister out of 6 figures. Anyway, but at the end of the day, I realized basically that at my emotional state right now, even if I wanted to have a relationship with him, I can't, because I'm too angry, hurt, and disgusted by what he did. And he doesn't deserve to have a relationship with you, OP, because he's a scamming piece of crap. I'm a person who used to believe that family was everything, and I don't anymore because of his actions. And that is devastating to me. So I just believe that right now I'm better off not talking to him. I want to thank you again for your kind words and your caring concern. And that is the end of that story. Hopefully you continue to slowly realize oh, there's so much more than the lettuce problem. That really the core issue is that your dad is a scumbag who doesn't value his relationship and his bond with his family and his children, and would rather, at the moment it becomes advantageous to him in any way, throw you under a bus and watch it roll over you. That's what he would rather do. And he'd be like, sick, I'm about to get a fat insurance payment from that bus company. Please don't. Don't reconnect with your dad. He would throw you under a literal bus, not metaphorically, like really.
My parents want to buy a house for my irresponsible sister. I want to object.
I mean, yeah, that's a big house is a big purchase.
Did they buy a house for you?
Good question.
So let's start off with my parents. They make good money. They always have. One thing they've never done well, manage the money. Ooh. Anytime they get a raise or come into some money, they have to spend it all. They have a crazy amount in credit card debt. Yikes. They have always been the type of people to have the latest and greatest things. By the way, this comes from One Bad AO Dad. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, for example, last year we bought my husband a used car. A couple years old, but a nice car. We got a great deal on it. It is fully loaded with everything you can ever want, but we got it for about $3,000 less than market value. We bought it off my in-laws. Immediately, my dad, who already has 3 cars, started looking into buying one.
Dude, not necessary.
Why do you need more?
Not necessary.
Why do you need more cars? You have 3. My mom became rational and told him no, that he didn't need it, especially fully loaded. Good job, Mom. A couple of months ago, my car was passing away. To fix it would cost way more than the car was worth. We did our research, and I got a used black. Trust me, color is important to this part of the story. Again, we got a great deal because my husband's uncle worked for the dealership where we got it. Well, a month later, my dad texts me and tells me he's trading in his car for a new one. I ask, what kind of car? And he sends me a link. 2 years
car,
newer.
but 2
Yeah. So
yeah.
same car as OP, but 2 years newer. I asked him, you trying to copy me, Dad? To which he responded, I can't let you have nicer cars than me. He said it jokingly, but there was some truth to it. So recently, my parents have come into a lot of money. My mom won a large settlement against her former employer for wrongful termination, and my dad's mother passed, so he's getting a large inheritance. So lots of money.
Right.
Now on to my sister, my bipolar personality disorder, self-absorbed person sister. I hate to even call her my sister, honestly.
Dang.
She mistreated me physically and emotionally from the time I was born. Jeez. I cut her out of my life when I was 22 for 2 years. The only reason I brought her back was because she became pregnant. She was married for about 3 years and her husband left her for another woman. Was that crappy of him to do? Yes. Did she deserve it? Kind of yes. I saw her emotionally abuse him, call him an idiot and worthless. She never took care of the house, picture slightly better than hoarders. She refused to work even though they couldn't afford her not to work. And like my parents, she likes the latest and greatest things, just didn't have the money for it. So they put themselves in crazy amount of debt. So last year, she got evicted out of the place she lived. She barely paid rent, but had an understanding landlord that helped her a lot. She barely paid any of her bills, as my grandma, mom, and dad paid for a lot of it, even her divorce lawyer. The thing that made the landlord punt her out was the condition that she left the house in. He was having none of that. How is he letting her get away with not paying rent?
Yeah, that's interesting.
How understanding of a landlord do you have?
Right.
So my parents took my sister and my niece in about a year ago. I had concerns. As I said, my sister is abusive. This is the time in their lives my parents should be winding down and enjoying their lives together. She would blame them for all her troubles, yell at them if they didn't do what she wanted. I voiced that I was concerned for them emotionally, physically, and financially. They told me not to worry. They'll put in rules for her to live there. She'll pay some rent. She'll not disrespect them. She will not disrespect me or my younger sister when we visit. She'll clean up after herself. She will save money to get out ASAP. A lot of positive thinking there.
Yeah.
A lot of positive thinking, maybe not a lot of reality.
Right. A little too much telling of the future.
Yeah, they're like, no, for sure. We know exactly how this is going to go.
It's like, do you?
Do you, though? Do you really? Well, as you probably figured, none of that happened. She would publicly bash them on Facebook if they said or did something she didn't like. Her room, a mess, soda bottles, wine bottles, trash everywhere. She berates me and my younger sister all the time when we go there, and my parents let her. She spends her money on stupid crap and things she doesn't need. No rent was ever paid. Uses my niece as a pawn in her game, and my parents pay for everything because she has no money. Well, then tell her to get a job.
Exactly.
She has also had 3 jobs in the past year. She can't keep a job and keeps getting fired. It's never her fault, though. That was a sarcastic statement. Oh, and they're taking her on a Disney cruise and Disney trip soon, and my parents made a point to tell me and my younger sister that we aren't invited. Why are your parents so horrible too?
What? That's a crazy note to
Yeah.
be like,
And also, you're not coming.
yeah, like we're gonna actually pay for everything for her because the poor thing can't have a job.
She can't keep a job.
Yeah, but we will take her on this Disney cruise.
Yeah, and
not
also
you.
we're gonna pay for it too, probably.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, everything I said would happen has. Now on to the issue. My parents call me all excited. Dad's friend from work is selling his mother's home. It's conveniently 2 minutes away from my parents' house. It's small, and they are thinking of doing a down payment for my sister to live there. The only reason they told me, my younger sister was told, and she said that if they didn't tell their power of attorney, me, by the end of the day, she will. Even the fact that I am the power of attorney over my older sister shows that my parents don't trust her. They told me and her that the reason they chose me was because they can't trust her to make it fair. Yet they're thinking of doing this big thing for her? Now, I bought a house in October of last year. My husband and I saved, drove crappy cars, didn't go on vacations, and rarely ate out for our down payment on our house. We did it all on our own. No help from anyone. They called to tell me that what they would do is change their will to state that it comes out of her portion of the inheritance. I guarantee they won't do that. It really isn't about the money for me, honestly. I don't care if at the end of the day I get no money from them as long as they spend it on each other, doing the things they want. I also understand that they are miserable living with her. My parents are currently seeing a family therapist on how to deal with her. When they told me, I got scared. They are financially binding themselves to someone who they have bailed out constantly. Well over $25,000 worth. That is a lot of money. I told them that I think this is the dumbest financial decision ever, and that I want to speak with their physician about it. For them to think that this is a smart move is completely mind-boggling, and something is not right. They said it's only the down payment. She'll be doing the rest. Just like she was going to clean the house and pay you guys rent.
Exactly. Like, that didn't happen.
Did not happen. I asked them what happens if my sister stops paying for the house. What then? They won't let her or my niece be homeless, so they're going to continue making the payments. They gave the argument that they can put it in their name, to which I said, then they'll never let it foreclose. Then there is this fact. If something breaks, my sister can't fix it. She can barely change a light bulb. What then? They're going to go over there and fix everything for her now? Who's going to mow the lawn? Who's going to shovel the driveway in the winter? Who's going to be Mr. Fix-It? My dad, guaranteed. He barely has time to do the things for his house, yet now he's going to have another one to take care of? He had a serious heart attack 2 years ago and had a bypass on 6 arteries.
Oh, wow.
This man can't take care of 2 houses?
No.
This isn't healthy for him, and Lord knows my mom can't do it. This is a mess. I told them that if she can afford a monthly mortgage, then she can afford rent. If they want to help her with a security deposit, fine, do it. But they will have no legally binding to it whatsoever. It's safer. They said I made a good point, but she is a dog. What place is going to take her with a dog? I said that my husband and my first apartment take dogs, and it was $850 a month for 1 bedroom, 1 den, 1 bathroom home. That is enough space for them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So OP is giving all of these reasons of how she can't take care of a whole house on her own. And they're just like, yeah, but she's got a dog.
She's got a dog. We have to help her. She got a dog.
Yeah. Like, worst case scenario, if she can't take care of herself, she can't take care of her dog.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
take the dog.
Either, take the dog or give up the dog for adoption or something. Like, that cannot be a deciding factor in you taking care of a whole second house for this daughter.
Nope.
Not at all. That's crazy.
Nope. That way, if anything breaks, they will fix it. Snow plowing, they do. Mowing, they do. Even garbage. With no reason for her to get a house when my parents will become responsible for it. This has all blown up. My younger sister is engaged and refuses to have anything to do with my parents over it. I'm going to distance myself, that is for sure. I feel as though I can no longer trust them. I've never trusted them much before, but that's an even longer story. And I've lost respect for them. I've worked hard for everything I've had, and I'm proud of that. They said that they're proud of me, yet they're enabling my sister and her bad behavior and then want to buy her a house? What? The thought of going about the rest of my life with minimal contact with my parents crushes me. but I don't want to sit back and watch this car wreck. My parents did tell me I had valid points to take into consideration, but I think they will try to go through with this just to get her out. I told them that getting her a house won't change anything. She's still got to treat them like crap. In all honesty, this is all in the early stages. They haven't even contacted a bank to see if they will be approved. I think they will be laughed out of a bank. I mean, if they have all that credit card debt, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But who knows? I'm pretty scared. I know this is a mess that someday I'm going to have to deal with as power of attorney. The fact that they even think this is a good idea and want to go through with it, whether they can or not, makes me question everything. My older sister found out that my younger sister and I are extremely disapproving and are trying to talk my parents out of it. She knows we don't like her, so what did she do last night? Have a temper tantrum.
Uh-oh.
Shocking.
Woohoo.
This is not uncommon for her. My little sister told them she was going to call the cops, but my parents begged her not to because then they'll take my niece away. Honestly, that might be the best thing for her. My parents said they're doing this for my niece, for her to be close by, and that you're not a mom, so you don't understand. I understand helping your daughter. I was fine with her moving into their house in the first place, just had concerns. Now they're doing everything for her. She's 30. It's time to grow up. I don't even know what to do. I'm at the point I should just sit back, and if it happens, then it happens. It doesn't concern me. I'll just clean up the mess after they're gone. Is there anything I could do? What would you do if you were me? I appreciate that you guys took the time to read this, and any advice is appreciated. And there is an update.
Wow.
But what are your thoughts?
Way back in the story, when they were, before they even like brought up this whole house thing, she was, well, maybe they were just starting to bring it up because I think they were like, hey, like, you got to get your own place. And she's like, like, you have to do everything for me.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to tell my power of attorney on you. And it's like, well, I think that your sister is going to be with your parents on this one. You got to get out. So I feel like she should have just done that. And then the sister should be like, power of attorney.
Yeah, I'm wondering why OP is not exercising those rights. And it did say when I looked it up that there were different types of power of attorneys. So maybe it's more limited in its capacity. But yeah. It's
just interesting that sister like threatened to tell OP when it was like, OP's not going to be with you, girl.
OP's not on your side.
Not at all.
But I think that you've done everything you can in terms of warning your parents. And at this point, it's their financial decision to kind of make.
Yeah.
Like if they mess up their lives, that's on them.
True.
But there is an update. I'm going to just let go. If this happens, then it happens. I've talked it over with my sister, husband, and grandma, and we've all decided to step back from this. My younger sister still wants no contact for now, and that's her choice. I'll be minimal. It's not an us versus them. It's being worried about my parents. My mom and dad both have health issues, and I don't want this to crush them. I do love and worry about them. They're all adults. While it's not the brightest decision, it's theirs to make. My parents have involved all three of us for a long time in problems and decisions that we shouldn't have been, even as small kids. Maybe that's why they felt the need to tell us all this. Maybe they shouldn't have, at least not yet, or until they at least met with a bank. As for me being power of attorney, I am also the executor of their estate. If this goes through, I will tell them I want to meet with their lawyers and figure this all out. I will decide then if I want to continue.
Huh.
Dang, I need to see a therapist.
Dang.
And there is an update.
Oh, wow.
Wowie.
So they can go to a lawyer then and then have this settled with a lawyer.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I mean, that's good. At least OP has like some say in this, even though it's like it's really not like totally involving OP.
No, but yeah.
Based on what I've seen on this story, I'm glad that OP has power in some regard.
Yeah, in some capacity.
Yeah.
But let's get into this update. First things first, my parents did not ever do a down payment on a house for her. They told her to go do research and see what she can get as far as a loan, and every bank told her no, because she has a bunch of credit card debt.
Yeah.
Which is what I figured might happen. The most delusional thing is she still thinks she can afford it and still keeps looking.
Dude.
I asked my parents about it recently and they said, yeah, we screwed up saying we could do that. She can't ever afford a house. I asked about helping her find an apartment and that never goes anywhere. She seems very content verbally abusing my parents in their home and they let her. So no change there.
Yeah.
One thing that happened was the 5 of us, younger sister included, went into family therapy. For a while, it was just my parents and older sister trying to work on their dynamics, as they are the ones who live together and battle a lot. When I did go, it helped me a bit. He made me realize that I really shouldn't hate my older sister as much as I should be angry with my parents. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, they're the ones who contributed to this kind of golden child syndrome.
Right. I don't know. I would still be mad at the sister.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
You could definitely still be mad at the sister, but it's
Right.
like, put some blame on those parents too.
For sure.
They are the ones who didn't protect me from my harmful sister. He also paired us up. Each person in the family has a partner that they were going to go to when problems happened. Someone to vent to, and that person was to have the other person's back in arguments, no matter how wrong they may have been. I was paired up with my older sister. It was exhausting, but I really tried my best. As things usually happen, she came to me with everything, and yet I never went to her. I never told her about my problems. She called me every single day to talk about hers. One family session, the therapist brought up that everyone in the room has problems. I feel like he was probably like, everyone here has problems.
Yeah.
But I'm imagining him going, all of you guys are messed up.
Yeah, you guys are all crazy. I don't know what you want from me.
You are a lost cause.
Yeah.
All of us are depressed. All of us have combative PTSD. Some have anxiety. My mother is an active user. My father is a self-absorbed person, an a-hole, and he just doesn't care. My older sister has borderline personality disorder. It doesn't make any of us bad. It's just who we are because of our trauma. Oh, okay.
That feels like a therapy response, like
Yeah.
a don't throw stones kind of
He's like,
answer.
you all have anxiety and
Yeah.
personality disorders and narcissism, but at
That's
the end of the day,
okay.
it's what makes you human.
Exactly. And I would just be like, okay, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
that's not what we're talking
We're
about.
not talking about that.
Gotta like deal with these problems though.
He wants us to seek individual therapy outside of seeing him. He then asked who is actually trying the tools he has taught us to communicate, and I was the only one who answered. He told us that some of us were on the verge of pulling away, and some of us are even on the verge of passing away.
Oh shoot.
Pretty serious crap for our last session, right? Yeah, you read that correctly. It was our last session. The next week, we got a group text from the therapist breaking up with us, telling us
wow.
that I'm only able to work on a few clients right now as I'm having personal problems. That's crazy.
No.
He's like, it's not you, it's me.
It's not you, it's me. That sucks, man.
Oy.
Dude.
So people could pass away from an OD or self-harm, but oh well. No recommendation for another therapist. Nothing. Just to be kind to one another. And let's pick up again in the fall. Also, my older sister is adamant that she is perfectly normal and that his diagnosis is wrong and wants his license for it. My younger sister did get married this past weekend. The only drama was from my older sister. One thing I've never mentioned in the OP was that my older sister for years has overstepped her boundaries with my husband. She will flirt with him, try to cuddle with him, jump into his arms, and more. I have told her repeatedly to stop, and she hasn't. She has gotten creepy over her infatuation with him. I told her last time if she overstepped and if she even tried to hug my husband again, she and I are done. Good. Put up those boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she crossed the line at the wedding. Shocker. I sternly told her off quietly, and then she proceeded to have a crying, screaming hissy fit at her table.
Of course.
We're done. I told my parents I'm no longer going to their house, and that includes holidays until my sister is gone. I will not enable them and her by visiting anymore. My parents are more than welcome at my home, but she is not. I will not let my husband be uncomfortable anymore. Well, then on Halloween, my mother fell into her bathroom and slammed her face on the bathroom sink. Oh my God. Oh my God. Broke a bone in her face and broke her pelvis. My father says she was sober. I don't believe it, as my father doesn't pay attention to things like that. Plus, they waited 3 hours before they called the ambulance. I will never know the truth there, but my mom is going into a nursing home until healed. So if she's abusing things, they will know. My older sister wants to take care of my mom while she heals, and we have all said over our passed away bodies. By the way, you can heal yourself by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Bucky Storytime.
You heard the woman.
But there is a little bit left to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Like, wow.
Yeah, wowie.
Yeah, I'm just making like a mental note to myself in the future of being like, I hope that none of my kids ever feel like they can't see each other ever again. Like, I don't want that to happen to my kids.
No, I think about that a lot because I have such a great relationship with Sam. And I'm like,
yeah.
my kids better live up to us.
Right.
They're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta be. Oh yeah. No, that's hard. And with the mom now getting hurt,
Yeah. Ugh.
it's just
Such a mess.
messy.
Yeah.
Messy.
Messy.
Yeah.
But there's more. So there's that. I'm feeling guilt over the fact that I won't see my niece as much or at all because of my cutting my sister out. But I have to protect my home. I'm going back and forth on the decision because of my niece. I feel as though I've made the right choice, but could I be wrong? It's not fair to her. She needs somewhat stable people in her life. And if I leave, it's gone. I'm at a loss. I haven't done therapy for myself yet. I'm scared to do so. It's a lot of crazy in my closet that I don't want to relive. It's all a mess. Any thoughts? Did I do the right thing? What do I do to help my mom and dad and niece without compromising my decision? And that is the end of that story.
Wowee, man.
Wowee.
Wowee.
I mean, I think that you have to prioritize your own sanity.
Yeah.
And it really sucks, like, losing that relationship with your niece. But for now, maybe the best thing is for you to put some space and then maybe come back to it in later.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like what you're doing. Like, I do think it's good for you to be like, I don't want to ever go to the parents' house. I don't want to ever go to the sister's house. Parents can come to me, but I'm not moving. Yeah, I think that's a good boundary to set.
I agree.
And I think just doing more of that, like continuing boundaries and just keep doing what you're doing.
Stay the course.
Exactly.
But that is the end of that episode.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.